Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of our story. If you like this what if story and want to see part 2, let me know in the comments below. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also, check the description for more great content and my playlist. This story was posted by MC on Wattpad. Now let's start. Ever since the age of 4, Izuku Midoriya has been ostracized by the human society, be it either by the civilians or by the heroes. And every day, ever since that day, he wondered and asked to himself, why? But he knew the answer to his question. It's because he was quirkless. Izuku learnt about the cruelty of the world at the bare age of 4 years old. Let me tell you how it all began. It was like any other day to the 4-year-old, but it was a bit special since today was his birthday and the day he will find out what his quirk is. And like every other kid on their 4th birthday, he was shaking with excitement, never knowing his life shall only turn to worst from this day on. Izuku was so excited that he couldn't be patient anymore and woke his mom at early hours of 6 o'clock in the morning. "Mama, get up, come on, wake up, wake up," Izuku said excitedly. And so his mom Inko Midoriya had began to stir up with a groan. "Good morning, sweetie," Inko said, still trying to open her eyes. Once they were opened enough, she looked beside her to her clock to check the time. "Izuku Midoriya," she began shouting, "it's bloody 6 in the morning, and your quirk doctor's appointment is not until 1 o'clock in the afternoon." "I'm sorry, Mama, but I was too excited. It's not only my birthday, but I get to know what quirk I get." Excitement was pouring out of the boy's body, not able to contain it. "Since I'm up now, we might as well have breakfast, but first you need to shower and change your clothes." And that's when Izuku looked down and realized he was still in his all-might pajamas. So he ran back to his room to shower and change his clothes while his mother did breakfast. 20 minutes later, Izuku came down fully prepared. "Happy birthday, sweetie. I made your favorite, and later on after your doctor's appointment we'll be getting 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲. How does sound?" The answer to his mother's question was him bouncing onto his chair with many nods of his head, earning a little giggle from his mom. A little time skip until the time for them to leave. Inko has buckled little Izuku into his seat, giving a kiss on his forehead before she went to the driver's seat and drove off. "What do you think my quirk is gonna be? Do you think it's gonna be like yours, Mama? Or am I gonna get a quirk as strong as All Might's? Maybe something flashy like 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐽's? Or something like..." He began mumbling enthusiastically to his mother. "𝐒𝐮𝐦 and I are gonna be greatest heroes," Izuku stated at the end of his mumbling. "No matter what quirk you get, I will always love you and you will always be my sweet little angel," Inko promised, earning an angelic smile from her son. Once they arrived to their destination, they were straight away asked to meet with the doctor. A couple tests here and results were finally done, and currently they are seated opposite of the doctor waiting for the results. "So doctor, what is my quirk? Is it something strong? Or is it like my mama?" Izuku asked the doctor, with his mom smiling fondly to him. "So what is his quirk?" Inko asked right after Izuku had. "I'm sorry to say this, but your son is quirkless," he stated, and Izuku's world crumbled. "If you look here at the scans, you would see that he has 2 joints on his pinky toe, which means that your son will never be able to develop a quirk," he continued, but it all fell to deaf ears to Izuku. He looked up to his mother, seeing that she had a strained smile on her face, while he had tears brimming in his eyes. "Thank you, Dr. Bit, we will be leaving now," Inko finally said before she snatched Izuku's hand, harshly dragging him back into the car. "Mama, you're hurting me, please. Mama, please slow down." Izuku was about to cry but held in a bit. Then she shoved him into the car and began driving back home, but soon to be the hell home for Izuku. "Mama, please tell me, what did I do?" He couldn't finish as Inko has interrupted him. "Shut up, brat, I don't want to hear you talking to me." "But Mama he was interrupted again. "Didn't I tell you to shut up?" she angrily shouted at him. Izuku was now scared and didn't dare utter a single word. His mother has never acted this way before, and she have never shouted at him with a tone like this before either. "But what about the promise you gave me?" he thought. The whole drive back was in utter silence, but not the comfortable type of silence. Once they arrived home, Inko gave him a hard glare. "Listen here, you little..." From now on you will not call me your mother unless in public," she said with distaste in her voice. "But Mama Dash, what did I just tell you?" She glared harder. "You will call me ma'am whenever we are alone, you understand." Izuku just nodded, too scared to answer. "Good. Now go to your room and dinner for you for the rest of the day." "Yes, ma'am," he stuttered, before heading to his room, but before he fully made it, he heard his mother mumble something. "I can't believe I wasted 4 years raising a stupid quirkless kid." Izuku was full on crying now. He sat on his bed, watching his favorite All Might video, sobbing and crying in the dark. You promised that you will love me no matter what quirk, so why? Can't a quirkless become a hero too?" He kept repeating in his head. Poor Izuku. He ended up crying himself to sleep that night, hoping this is all just a nightmare. But what he doesn't know that his life is about to get even worse. The next morning he woke up, getting ready for school. Tear stains were prominent on his face. Izuku knew that yesterday wasn't a nightmare but a reality. He wasn't stupid, but quite the opposite. Izuku is a very intelligent boy for a child his age. He just never shows it so people don't think that he's bragging or showing off that he's smarter than other kids his age, so he understood that he was in bad situation. Back to where we were, Izuku went down the stairs still hoping his mother have forgave him, even though he did nothing wrong, and made him breakfast. He was hungry. After all, he didn't have anything other than the breakfast he had in the morning. Once at the kitchen he saw his mother eating but nothing prepared for him. "What are you doing here? There's no breakfast for trash like you. You don't deserve it. And I'm not driving you to school, you can walk there for all I care. Just be grateful that I'm still allowing you to go," Inko said when she saw him standing by the door. "Yes, ma'am," he said dully and left the house. He hoped that school will be better. After all, he still had his best friend 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐸𝐵𝐾𝐲, his childhood friend. His hopes crumbled down. "Hey Izuku, so what quirk did you get? It obviously can't be better than mine," Katsuki asked the moment he saw Izuku showing off his quirk. Katsuki's quirk allows him to sweat nitroglycerin on his palms, which can make powerful explosions. "Hey Kachan, well the doctor said that. I'm quirkless," Izuku answered, fidgeting with his fingers while looking down. When Izuku looked up to Katsuki's eyes, all he saw was utter disgust. "I can't believe you're a Deku. I guess that suits you well, Deku." That's when his childhood friend became his worst tormentor, and it wasn't just him, the entire turned on him, avoiding him as if he's a parasite. His class and friends all bullied him both verbally and physically. They would throw insults, spit on him, shove him in the lockers, push him down the stairs. He even became a punishing bag to 𝐒𝐵𝐾𝐲 and his lackeys. Because of the beatings and the pushes down the stairs, Izuku would get bruises, broken bones and even third-degree burns from 𝐒𝐵𝐾𝐲's quirk, but they never cared. Even the teachers ridicule him and would fail him on his assignments and tests on purpose even if the entire answers were correct, which were dash. Death threats and spider lilies always littered his desk and locker, and his belongings will always be destroyed. His home life wasn't any better. He started by getting daily beating by his mother, saying he deserved everything that's happening to him. She started drinking, and whenever she got drunk his beatings got worse to the point where she would use knives and carve words on his back. Even after getting sober she would give him another beating, blaming him for getting drunk and having a headache. Inko obviously refused to take him to hospitals if he had broken any part of body, so he had to learn to use the first aid kit by himself via memory for whatever book or video he read or watched. I really wish that I can say that that's all he goes through, but in reality he has to face more and worse. Izuku's POV. Ever since I can remember, I have always felt safe being in the shadows, being in the dark, being in the night. I never really knew why, but it always gave me a sense of comfort. It has been 8 years since the day I was told I was quirkless. And 8 years since the beginning of my hellish life. I lost my mother that day, I lost my friends, I lost my smile, and I lost my happiness. Every time I go to school I get bullied, ridiculed, and tormented by the entire school, including the teachers and the principal. I would get pushed down the stairs, earning sometimes a broken bone or a massive bruise. The teachers would anyways fail me even if my answers are correct. They'd even send me to the principal's office on the slightest thing I do, and it doesn't matter what it is, I would just say the correct answer when asked and would be accused that I was thinking that I'm better than them, but if I didn't say it correctly or say anything at all I get accused of not studying and slacking off. Suspension and punishment is what I get every time I am sent to the principal's office, and it gets worse if I try to utter a word to try and defend myself. In between classes, my classmates would always throw something at me. They could be paper, books, or they would use their quirk. They'd even do it during class, not like the teacher cares, but instead they send me off since I'm interrupting the class. In the hallways of the school, I get thrown insults at, shoved, tripped, and they would even try to vandalize my belongings, whether it was my bag, clothes, or locker. Someone please end my misery. I would always repeat in my head. During recess and after school is when 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 and his lackeys would love to have fun with me. Yep, these amazing friends of mine find fun in beating me, giving me more broken bones, bruises, and third-degree burns. Isn't it funny? I actually don't feel pain when they do any of this to me. In fact, if I were to choose between going to school or staying at home, I would choose going to school. Why, you wonder? Simple, my home life is what caused me to be numb to the pain. On the day my mother and I got the news that I was quirkless, she had a complete turn with the way she treated me. You're probably asking, what did she do for me to become completely numb to pain? Well, this is a different story from how I'm treated at school. At first she would only lock me in my room and not feed me for days, probably weeks, and occasional yells and slaps here and there. It's when I turned 5 that things started to get nasty. Inko started drinking, so on my 5th birthday I had my first beating as a birthday gift. Over the days after that it'd get worse. She started using WHPS and knives, sometimes heating them up to leave everlasting scars. I'd get punished when she came back from work tired, or when I talk, specifically when I mumble, or when I do something wrong in her eyes, and sometimes I'd get punished just by being in her presence. You'd be probably wondering, why didn't you go to the hospital yourself, or why not report your mother to the police or ask someone for help or something like that? Well, the answer to your questions is because I already tried. They wouldn't treat me nor believe me. Your kind isn't allowed here since you caused disturbance to our patients. You probably did that to yourself to get attention. Your kind are such attention seekers. This exact saying was said by one of the doctors I asked to help me when I had a broken arm and a sprained leg. And that was when I was 5. The police were the same. Don't get me started on civilians, they wouldn't even bat an eye, and when they did they say this exact sentence. Don't, little fella, a hero should be on the way to help you, and then walk off. They wouldn't even call a hero for me or ask me if I'm alright. But I still hung onto the little hope I still had. I still hoped that someone will help me, will save me. I still hoped that I can still be a hero. Until it came crashing down in an instant on this day. Today marks my 12th birthday, so you guessed it, my day becomes 10 times worse. I woke up, removed my bandages, and waited for my mother to rush in and give me my special birthday beating. I'll give you a hint on she does on this very special day, and one of them is removing my skin with a heated knife without me uttering a whimper. Yep, my normal birthday mornings. After she was done, I re-bandaged myself and ready for school. Although I hate it, it's still better than home. Once I arrived there, many people wished me happy birthday in their own way, either by beating me or suicide baiting me. Well, if it isn't stupid Fing Deku, the birthday boy himself. I came here to wish a happy birthday, and I have a very special gift for you after school today, and I can't wait. 𝐒𝐲 said, bumping into me, which made me fall, and that gave his lackeys a chance to spit on while the others laughed at my misery. I sighed, picked up my stuff and went class, preparing myself for 𝐒𝐲's gift. It's currently the last PRD. I was just minding my business, writing in my hero notebook, that is until 𝐒𝐲 came and snatched it from my hands. What is this? Hero notes for future, don't make laugh. Did you hear this, guys? Shitty Deku here still thinks he can still be a hero. He said, causing everyone to laugh. Guess I haven't drilled it that you can't be hero enough into that thick head of yours. But don't worry, I'll get through your head for the final time today. He continued with giving me his biggest SHT-eating grin. I just looked up at him with my dead dull eyes and said nothing, and his grin faltered. What's with look in your eyes, huh? He began shouting and then destroyed my notebook and threw it out the window. I didn't flinch and my facial features remained blank. Midoriya. Stop disrupting my class or I will send you to the principal's office. And Bakugo, please go back to your seat. Mr. Falter said. Yes, sir. We responded. I guess I'm gonna have to double your present today, you're one lucky guy. So, don't fit late. I just shook my head and kept my eyes on my desk. Time went by faster than to my liking. So now you see me being skirted by Bakugo's lackeys to prevent me from escaping. Well, birthday boy is finally here for the party. Do I even need to tell you who said that? I'll give you your present after I teach a lesson for even thinking that a quirkless thing piece of 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 like can still be a hero. Pin him to the wall. He said before he ordered, and they obliged. But before he began he said one final thing. You know, you would have made all of our lives easier if you just took a swan dive of a roof somewhere. That's when he began to beat me up using his quirk. While he was giving me 2nd and 3rd degree burns, I was racking brain up waiting for an opportunity to escape. After 5.5 minutes of his beating, I finally got a chance. I haven't wasted even a second before I managed to flip one of his lackeys on the other with my arm and took a run for it. I might be malnourished and injured, but I'm very fast and can muster some strength when needed. You idiots, you let him escape. After him. I've really set him off now, so I can't get myself caught no matter what. Thank God I have head start. I'll take a different route and hide somewhere in the shadows until they pass. I thought while searching for a place to hide. The chase went on for 20 minutes until I came across a bridge. I went under it, hid in the shadows while trying to stick to its ceiling. And to my utmost luck they ran past me. I waited a couple minutes to make sure the coast was clear before I came down. I finally managed to take a breather. I need to tend to these injuries before they get infected. And as I said that, a villain came out of the sewers and grabbed hold of me. A juicy and young meat, you'll be perfect for my escape. The villain said. He was suffocating me, trying to enter my body and take over, but I was fighting for my freedom. You're a strong one, I'll admit that. It's been 7 minutes and you're still holding on. No one has held on this long before, but just give your body before he arrives. He said whilst trying to make the process faster. I've been at it for 7 minutes. If it was someone else, they wouldn't have survived. What kind hero takes his time in chasing the villain he's after? So hurry up, please. That's when someone came out of the sewers from where the villain came. Fear not, citizen, for I am here. He said while preparing for an attack. It's all might. Wait, I'm still a hostage, I'll get taken out with him. But I can't be heard since I'm being suffocated by the villain he was after. Detroit smash. That's the last I heard before everything went black. I woke up to someone slapping me awake. Hello there, thought that I lost for a second. All Might said. Did he just slap me awake? Glad you're alright, but I gotta get this villain to the police station. He said before getting ready to leave. I put whatever bad thought I had about him now to the side just so I can ask him for a couple of questions that will determine my life. Wait. All Might, I have a couple questions, please. Fine, but hurry up. Here's my chance, my little hope. My first question. Can a quirkless person be a hero too? I finally asked, but waited few seconds before he answered. Don't make laugh. All people like them could is hinder us heroes. So to answer the answer is absolutely no. And he took off without even letting me finish. With that, any hope that I had vanished into oblivion. My eyes completely lifeless. I was naive. I was totally naive. If the heroes don't care, if the villains don't care, if the people don't care, so why the should I? I've held on to that little hope for 8 years, just to crush the person I was waiting for to save me. He didn't just laugh at me, he didn't just discriminate me, he didn't just allow me to ask him for help. He attacked the villain while I was still his hostage. He slapped me till I woke up. I was wrong to think that heroes are the good people and that villain are the bad people. They're both the same. I should just take 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲's advice and take a swan dive of a roof. But for now I'm just gonna head home first. So I limply walked home. Izuku's POV. Once I arrived there and entered, the house was completely deserted. No furniture, no lights, no nothing. But a simple note. I moved to a new house and couldn't sell this one since no one would buy it, knowing that a thing like you lived here, so enjoy it, it's all yours now. And don't you dare call me or ask me help. You can rot in hell for all I care. Huh, she finally left. I said in a monotoned voice. There's no point in staying since I won't be able to make money to buy food or any necessities. No one would hire me and people turn a blind eye to a kid in need like me. I decided. I'm just gonna end it today. That would make everyone stay happy. But I gotta say something, seeing this house all dark like this would probably be the only time it ever actually felt like home. The dark and the shadows always did make me feel safe, so maybe that's why. That was my last thought before I turned around out the door for the final time. I searched for a place that wasn't too far from my neighborhood, but not too close either. I managed to find a tall, abandoned building on the outskirts of the city near a forest. This should be the perfect place, I thought, and then started ascending the stairs. So after a 15-minute stair climbing, I finally made it to the top. The rooftop. And I slowly began walking to the edge, thinking about dreams, my hopes, my life. Heroes are hypocrites. They only care about the money and fame this job brings them. They don't care about the safety of the people nor the collateral damage they cause during a fight. Few of them are like the new debuted heroes like 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐸𝐸𝐿ady, Mount Lady, or even heroes in the top 10 like Endeavor the number 2 hero and All Might the number 1 hero. And to think I looked up to them, wanted to be them, but my eyes have finally opened to the truth. There are only a few who are true heroes, and there is one of them that I would have loved to meet. Still can't believe that I actually thought that All Might was a true hero. The civilians, the people are just as much to blame as the heroes. People would turn a blind eye on an injured kid asking for help. Hospitals and police stations wouldn't even lift a finger to help if they found out that the said person is quirkless. I know that some people have it bad if they have a weak quirk or a quirk that is deemed villainous, but no one has it worse than us quirkless kids. What the F do these people think? This isn't something we can control, but the world does not care, does not give two shits. Then there are the villains. They steal, destroy, kidnap, torture. But I can't help but sympathize with some of them. Don't get me wrong, but I can understand their reasoning. Some steal cause they can't afford for their family, some resort to violence because they have no choice or say in the matter, and some turned villains because the world turned their backs on them and thought of finding a place for them on the dark side of the world. Just like me. I'm standing on the edge ready to end this, and all it would take is to make the final step. And I jumped. Falling down, I can't help but feel very peaceful and at ease, and I was embracing it. I couldn't help but give a small smile. But while falling, I couldn't stop rethinking about everything that I just thought of. The world turned its back on me, but I just don't want to turn my back on the world, because there are people just like me waiting to be saved but will never get it. I've decided, if I manage to survive this, I'm going to be the person who's willing to help and save those in need. I'm going to be there for them since no one else would. Villains and civilians alike, I would save them all. And then darkness consumed me. Eraserhead's POV, I was out patrolling my night shift. And for some reason today I decided to expand my patrol area all the way to outskirts of the city. I just had a gut feeling that it's going to be needed, and I always listen to my gut. It is 1 a.m. currently, and I don't finish my shift until 2. So I have an hour left before I can finally head home. I stopped at a rooftop to take a minute break. Today went very smoothly, only a couple mugging and few break-ins here and there. Hopefully it remains like that for the rest of the hour. After a minute I continued my shift, hopping from building to building trying to locate any suspicious activity. The hour is almost up and my shift is nearly over. It really ended up being a peaceful night. Guess my gut was wrong about today. And that's when I saw something at the edge of eye and turned my head around towards a figure standing at the edge of the rooftop. I spoke too soon. I began sprinting towards the guy, and the closer I got the more I managed to see his figure. A kid. What the hell is he doing? He was nearing the edge and I don't think I'll make it in time. Wait, kid, don't jump. I tried screaming out to him, but I'm too late, so without a second hesitation I realized my scarf after him, hoping I can catch him in time. Hoping for that tug. Every second felt like an hour and my heart was racing. Come on, come on, come on, please tell me I'm not late. And then I felt it, that appealing tug of my scarf when I caught someone in it. So very slowly I began to lift him up. Once up in my arms I checked for a pulse. There's a pulse, just unconscious, thank God. He is finally up and safe, away from the edge, and so I tried to wake him up. I gently shaked him, his eyes began to open. Hey kid, are you alright? Where am I? On the rooftop. I managed to save you before hitting the ground. So I made it out alive. Thank you, Eraserhead. I was genuinely shocked at what he said and that he knew who I was, but there are more important matters on hand. So I asked him some questions as gently as I possibly could. What's your name, kid? And how old are you? Izuku Midoriya. That's my name. And I'm 12, and she looked at me with his dead dull eyes and answered me monotonously. What happened to you, kid? I couldn't help but be worried. Okay, Midoriya, may I ask what were you doing tonight? Call me Izuku, please. I hate my family name. And about I just wanted to end it all, until you saved me. Okay, Izuku. But what? Why do you want to end it all? You're just a kid, you still have so much ahead of you. Because I couldn't endure it anymore, I couldn't handle it, I was just so tired and no one was willing to help me. But you wouldn't understand. Sigh. Look, Izuku, I wouldn't be able to understand unless you help me to. So how about this? Let me take to a hospital to check if you have any injuries, and while at it you will try to help me understand you. So how about that? No, please, anywhere but a hospital, I beg of you. This surprised me, and I wasn't going to listen to him until I saw the panic in his eyes. That's the first emotion he showed me the entirety of our time talking, and so for his sake I'm willing to oblige. Okay, I won't take you to a hospital, but instead I'm going to take you to a friend of mine. Does this work for you? Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Eraserhead. That's the kindest thing anyone has ever done for me. And with that he fell unconscious again. Everything he said and the way he talked really worried me. This isn't how a 12-year-old kid should talk, and he shouldn't be so calm for someone who just jumped. Maybe the shock hasn't registered in yet. I held him in a more comfortable position, began hopping from building to building trying to head towards you. I couldn't tell before because of my shock, but this kid is way too light for it to be healthy. I need to get him to 𝐒𝐲 fast. I took out my phone and started dialing the Satan rat. Well, if it isn't Aizawa. Why are you calling me at 2 in the morning? Doesn't your shift end now? Not now, Nizu. I need you to wake 𝐒𝐲 up and tell her I need her ASAP. It's an emergency. Well, it looks like it's really urgent. Alright, I'll tell her to get ready. I'll meet you guys in 6 minutes, so she better be ready. I closed the phone and speeded up. I need to him there as fast as possible. Hopefully he isn't as bad as he looks. But would have never expected the shocking news I was about to hear. RD person POV. After Eraserhead hung up the phone, Nizu straight away went to tell 𝐒𝐲, aka Recovery Girl, to get ready for she is about to get a patient. And by the sound of Aizawa, it seems it's pretty serious and urgent. I really hope that Aizawa has a pretty good reason to wake me up at this godly hour, or there will be hell to pay for both of you. 𝐒𝐲 said to Nizu while she prepared a room and her equipments. Judging by the urgency in his voice on the phone, I think it's pretty much very serious. He answered her with a bead of sweat running the side of his forehead, hoping that she wouldn't unleash her wrath on them. After all, an angry 𝐒𝐲 is a scary 𝐒𝐲. She's probably the only person who can give the Satan rat a run for his shoes. And as said, after 6 minutes Eraserhead came barging into the room and placed young Izuku on the medical bed. Oh my! What the hell happened to this kid? 𝐒𝐲 said, shocked at the kid's state. He jumped. Aizawa stated. What do you mean he jumped, Aizawa? Nizu asked. It's as you think, this kid tried to end his life. I barely managed to catch him before he hit the ground. Say what now? He doesn't look older than 11 years old. 𝐒𝐲 said, shell-shocked. I'm 12 actually. Izuku suddenly said. Jesus kid, how long have you been awake for? Aizawa asked, surprised. I've been awake since you've laid me in this bed, sir. That seems to have shocked them since none of them has realized that he was awake. It's like he has no presence at all. Went through Aizawa's head. Okay, young one, let me introduce myself. He was cut off by Izuku. I know who you are. You're Principal Nizu of UA High. You like to refer yourself as a mouse, bear, dog, or a hybrid of them when actually you're a chimera, and you're one of the smartest beings that roam this earth, And yes, I do know who Eraserhead and Recovery Girl are. And for your information, my name is Izuku Madara, he said in a nonchalant way. Silence filled the room, and it took them a minute before they got out of their stupor, and 𝐒𝐮𝐻's face became that of a curious one. How? Aizawa asked, and Izuku just shrugged. Silence filled the room once more before 𝐒𝐮𝐻 spoke. You're an interesting little fella, I'll tell that. I've never met someone who'd know any information about us, especially people as old as Recovery Girl here or any underground heroes. I know a bit of information because I used to love learning and discovering about the aspects of quirks and quirks in general. I have a couple books with my notes about them. If you grab my bag with you, you'll find few of them in it. And without a second thought, 𝐒𝐮𝐻 took the book from his bag and began reading with Aizawa peeking over his shoulder, with Recovery Girl still trying to treat him. They didn't even finish skimming the first page before their eyes widened immensely. You said you have a couple of them. How many of these do you actually have? Aizawa asked with a shocked tone. I have about 4 of them with me in the bag and about 16 of them back at home. And right then and there Aizawa's and 𝐒𝐮𝐻's eyes almost bulged out of their face. What a villain would to get his hands on one of these. What they read was excruciating details about some quirks on their weaknesses and strongest aspect and/or ways on how to improve it and how to stop it. And what's more shocking is that some of the quirks written in here belong to both underground and limelight heroes and even some villains. I know they're not that good. Now here the hero and the principal snapped their heads towards him. But I promise you that I haven't sold or showed any of this information to anyone but myself. Kid, are you insane? What do you mean they're not that good? A villain would anything just to get his hand on the slightest of info. You have 1 page. Heck, I would anything to have this kind of information in the grasp of my hand. That gave a little shimmer to Izuku's eyes, but it didn't even last for a split second. So his eyes remained as dull and dead. You're truly something else, Izuku. Even with my high-specs quirk, I can't write half of what you wrote here. So tell me, little fella, what is your quirk? I'm quirkless, he said dully, waiting to be kicked out or lashed at. But with these 2 simple words, silence filled the room for the 3rd time this night, and even Recovery Girl stopped tending to him. Izuku, honey, please don't tell me some of these injuries are because you are quirkless or are self-inflicted. Koyo hoped that what she just said was false, but evidence in front of her says otherwise. Here, Izuku has finally turned to meet her eyes, and they finally truly noticed the state of his eyes were. The gears in his head were running fast, contemplating if he should tell them or not. He made up his mind. He's got nothing to lose anyway, and it's not like they can do anything worse than what he already been through. Izuku's POV, I decided on telling them I'm already a lost cause, and there is nothing much they can do. I know for a fact that once I'm done telling, they're gonna tell me I'm lying and wounds are self-inflicted. You want to know the truth? Then I'll tell you the truth. Not one of these injuries on my body are self-inflicted, and not some of them but all of them are because of other people. In fact, most of these wounds are inflicted by my own mother, not that I can call her that, and the rest of them are from my school, and I mean the entire school, and the teachers turn a blind eye, not giving a SHT about me. He paused to take a breath, and he continued. I've been spit at, pushed, dragged, punched, and even had my belongings destroyed on many occasions, but these are the simple things that happen to me. As you can see, I have 3rd-degree burns because of a classmate of mine using his quirk on me, but he's not the only one. And then there is my own mother. I have always rathered the beatings in school than at home. She would stab and cut my flesh with a heated knife, use WHPS, carve words on my body, chain me, and even starve. Never even getting the chance to get medical treatment. Even on days that I managed to go to hospitals, the moment they knew I was quirkless, they would always turn a blind eye to me, saying that I was just an attention-seeking quirkless brat. All of that started at the age of 4, so I'm pretty much used to all of this and have extremely high pain tolerance. I can't tell you everything, or then my story would never end. I told them a summary of life. I've said it nonchalantly. I'm already used to all of it, now I'm just waiting for them to kick me out or something. Aizawa's POV, we were speechless. We didn't know how to react, WR didn't know what to say, we didn't know what to do. There should never ever be someone talk about something as traumatizing and horrible that happened to someone or to himself without care in the world. This isn't normal, and he shouldn't think it is. Without even realizing what I was doing, I ran and hugged to the poor kid. RD person POV. Izuku's eyes widened immensely. When he saw Eraserhead running towards him, he was expecting a beating or something of this sort, to be hugged. This was something beyond what Izuku can comprehend or even understand. But it came out just above a whisper, but it was loud and clear to everyone in the room. What do you mean why? Don't even think that what you've been through is normal, cause it's not. Izuku, you said that you didn't tell us everything since your story wouldn't end. What kind of stuff have you not mentioned to us? 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 asked. Mostly some of the more gruesome parts of my life and all the types of torture and treatments that I couldn't be bothered to mention, and maybe all the notes and spider lilies I receive from both students and teachers. Izuku answered. And you consider this normal, dreary? 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 asked him. Normal for me. Normal in general. I'm not stupid. I saw how parents treat their children and I've seen how families and friends act towards each other. He answered her. Oh my gosh, problem child. Why haven't you contacted the police or at least a hero? Who said I didn't? It was the same treatment at the police stations and the same treatment with the heroes. Heck, I even asked the citizens and my neighbors. The hospitals refused me, so what the F made you think they would help me or even believe me? He said with raised eyebrow. I gave up on asking for help long time ago. I'm lost cause anyways, and people avoid me like a plague. In the end, it doesn't really matter why. It's just it is, and I have already been through it for the past 8 years of my life. He sighed at the end. The heroes didn't know what to think, but seeing this child like this, seeing the state of his body, and even seeing the state of his eyes like this broke their hearts. And that's even a first for 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲. His eyes tells them that he gave up hope and he gave up his will to live. So in this very moment, the three adults made eye contact and derived a conclusion to help young Izuku. Aizawa faced Izuku again and said, Then how about you ask us for help? And I promise you that we will help in every single way possible, and I never turn back on my promises. But the question remains, are you willing to take our help? He offered with a soft tone, hoping he would accept. Izuku looked at them with a huge shock on his face and began to tear up, for he never thought that they would actually be willing to help. But why now? Should I trust them? Will they really help me? Thoughts like these kept running through his head, but he decided on giving it a shot. So stray tears ran down his face without him realizing and asked the question. Will you please help me? I'm begging for you to help and just get me out of my hellish life. Please, I'm begging you. He finally asked, clenching the bed sheets with all his might. There is no need for you to beg, little one, for we have agreed to help you the moment Aizawa here asked you that question. So to answer your plea, yes, we are more than happy and willingly to help you in every way possible, and we'll start with Recovery Girl healing all your injuries and with providing you a safe place with everything you need and longing. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 answered his plea for help, and he promised himself to help this boy even if the whole world was against him. And with that, genuine tears ran down Izuku's face, for he finally found someone who is willing to save him. Izuku's POV. This is the first time I had shed tears in years. Maybe there is hope, but for now, I have something to focus on first. I made a promise to myself and I'll do anything to achieve it. My tears didn't last long. I focused back to them and got out of the bed. I bowed to the best of my ability in my current state and thanked them from the bottom of my heart. I thank you very greatly for accepting to help me, although you don't have to do everything you just said you would, Principal 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲, but I truly thank you all. It was a genuine thanks, but I had no emotion to show it for. That is utter nonsense, little fella. Stop bowing to us this instant and listen to me. You deserve everything I just said, I interrupted him. But no buts. I meant every word I said before, and I mean every word that I'm about to say. Someone of your case deserves the utmost help. You should have got that help the moment you asked for it, but you never got it, and for that. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 stopped and bowed to me. I apologize to you on behalf on all the heroes. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐴's act caused everyone to look at him in shock, but soon Aizawa followed in his footsteps and bowed to me as well. I agree with 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐴 here. You should have been rescued and saved a long time ago, so I hope you take my apology as well, also on behalf all of the heroes. But keep in mind that we're not telling you to forgive any of the heroes who wronged you. You, my young dearie, deserve all the treatment and help that you needed, so even I would like to apologize for not getting help any sooner. Recovery girl added and bowed to the best of her ability in her current age. I looked them in the eye to make sure that they meant what they said, and to my surprise, they did. I didn't know how to answer at first, but I made my decision. All right, you got me, I'll accept your terms. That brought a smile on their faces. Glad to hear it. Well, until I can prepare a house and any accommodation you need, you'll be living with 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐵 here and would have daily checkups with 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐽. Any of you have a problem with it? 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬 asked. I wouldn't mind. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽 answered. I have absolutely no problem with it. 𝐒𝐮𝐽𝐬 answered as well. Well, everything is set and agreed on, but Izuku, I have a question that I would like to ask, would you mind? Ask away, Principal 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽. I answered. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽's POV. First of all, please just call me 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽. Now for my question, what is it that you would like to do for your future and all? If you don't have any plans, there would be nothing wrong with that. I just have a suggestion for you that might benefit you. I said. The little fella went silent for a moment, seemingly to be thinking about what to answer me. It seemed he nodded to himself and gave me answer. To be honest with you, I never had any plans for myself or the future. Maybe when I was 2 I did want to become a hero, but that dream died when I was 4. After that, all I ever wanted was for everything to end. So when I did jump, I started thinking, I thought about everything that happened to me. I started thinking about all these corrupt heroes and officers, about the villains and their reasoning for becoming one, and finally about all the other quirkless or people with deemed villainous or weak quirks, about all the people who are suffering as well. So I thought if I by any chance managed to survive, and knowing my luck, I promised myself that I would do anything it takes to save those who are in need, villains and civilians alike. It wouldn't matter to me. So this is what I would like to do for the future. I want to change the world and become someone for people that can rely on. It's a promise. I'm willing to do anything to achieve it. This kid shocked me to the bottom of my core. Honestly, I never thought he would even say something like that. For someone so young to know and have experienced the hardships of the world, I can't fathom the fact that he's willing to still want to protect and save people. I have never met someone like this before. This kid has just earned my respect. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽's POV. I cannot believe what I just heard from this mere child. This kid has been through hell, yet he is still willing to help people instead of becoming a villain. Heck, I would become one if I went through half of what he's been through. This kid has my utmost respect, and I'm pretty sure he got both 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽's and 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐽's respect as well. I don't care what people say, I'm willing to do anything as well to help him achieve it, quirkless or not. He is the true meaning of a hero. Kid, I don't care what anyone has to say, but I am more than willing to help you achieve this promise of yours. You've earned my earnest respect. I'm with 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽 here, you've earned my respect as well. And as a principal of one of the most prestigious hero schools in the world, I give you my full support. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽 said. Wow, now this would be something that would go down on history, and I'll all for it. You, my young child, earn my respect as well, so please don't ever hesitate to come to me if you ever need any help or healing. 𝐒𝐮𝐽 added. RD person POV. Izuku couldn't have been more shocked and his eyes shimmered a bit with hope. He was internally very happy but couldn't show it as of yet, and so he decided to give them a chance, but he is not willing to trust them fully yet. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽, sir, you said you have a suggestion that might benefit me, can tell me what it is? Izuku asked. Yes. Well, my suggestion was for you to study under me, or in better terms to intern under me, and I would provide you all the necessities while living here in UA. Your analytical skills really intrigued me, as I've never met someone who can analyze something and write about it with this much details. Even my analytical skills can't compare to yours. I wanted to suggest this to you even if you said you didn't want to become a hero. Honestly, I never thought that you wanted to be one. So what do you say, Izuku? Everyone turned to Izuku, who took a thinking pose, hoping for an answer. I'll agree to your suggestion on a few conditions. List them up. First, I would like to be taught how to fight and defend myself, and secondly, I would like to start patrolling areas with Eraserhead here when you deem me ready. Agree on these 2 terms and I shall accept interning under you. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽 couldn't help but grin at Izuku's terms. You're a really smart cookie, aren't you? What do you say, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽? Would agree to his terms as well. Kid, you're on, I'm in on your terms. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽 said. You heard the man, little fella. You got yourself a deal. Just make sure you don't injure yourself too much, 'cause it would be on me to heal you up. 𝐒𝐲𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 chimed in. Then I would gladly intern under you, 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲, sir. And with that, both Izuku and the chimera shook their hands, sealing the deal. I'm not going to be able to stop you from using honorifics, am I? Well, it will take me a while. That earned small laughs from the adults and the tiniest twitch of Izuku lips, but not unseen by the ones present. We'll do everything we can to get him to smile and live happily the rest of his life. A thought rang between the three adults. RD person POV, hey kid, try to get some shut-eye. You look exhausted, get some rest. We promise you be safe. Aizawa said. The adults have decided to let him sleep and relax, while they continue talking outside. I'll try, but I don't think I will. Izuku answered him. He closed eyes and without realizing it, fell into unconsciousness due to his exhaustion. So the heroes quietly left the room and left him to rest. Once outside and the infirmary door closed, 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐽 spoke. Aizawa, I'm going to need you to go to his house and grab anything that belongs to him and take it to your house. Until we can accommodate him and prepare him a house here in you. But we need him to at least feel welcome and at peace. You don't need to tell me twice. I was planning to the moment we decided that he was temporarily going to sleep at my house. And might as well do a bit of investigation. Aizawa replied back. I'm with you on the investigation part. Seems like I have to do a bit of digging as well. Did you see the eye bags under his eyes? They're worse than yours, Aizawa. And you don't sleep. This poor kid seriously needed this nap, but I estimate that he won't be sleeping for long judging by his case. 𝐒𝐲𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 butted in. While you two do your investigations, I'm going to need to prepare for his treatment and especially get him something to eat. Who knows how long this child has been starved? She mumbled the last bit as she left with her cane to get prepared. And with that, they all left to do their own assignments, not realizing that Izuku heard throughout half of their conversation. Recovery girl was right. But her estimation is a bit far off. But it definitely does seem like I can give them a little chance. He spoke to himself. Aizawa's POV. I didn't take my time to prepare and straight away headed to his house. I have no idea how 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐽𝐽 does it, but it only took him a second to know where he lived and to send his location to my phone. If that's not scary, I don't know what is. I thought. I arrived at the door and knocked. I had to see if there was anyone in there. So after no one answered, I opened it myself and welcomed myself in. At first glance, the house seemed normal, but as you look around you'll realize the broken glass of alcohol bottles and some blood stains. Even if you don't look, the smell is more than enough to prove it. It's dark in here, but I can clearly tell what happened around here. I kept walking around for a bit before deciding to head upstairs. I checked all the rooms except for the last one. This must be his room. I figured as I put my hand on the handle. It's useless to go in there. Izuku suddenly chimed out of nowhere. Jesus fing hell kid, you scared the life out of me. I took a breath in. I haven't been scared like this in ages. I said as I placed my hand on my heart. Please don't ever do that again. Wait, what the hell are you doing here, problem child? You should be back in you. Arresting. I came here to tell you that it was pointless to come and get any of my belongings. And why is that? And how did you know what I was doing here? I managed to hear throughout half of your conversation. 2 minutes of sleep is all I managed to get. But as to why I said it's pointless to come is. He paused as he opened his bedroom door, because I've got absolutely nothing. When he opened that door, I couldn't believe what my eyes laid on. This can't be called a bedroom. All he has inside was a broken bed with a mattress on, no covers, no blankets, nothing. The only other thing in the room are these bloodied bandages and empty bottles of antibiotics. The room reeks of the smell of blood. This can't be your room. I said in a very low voice, absolutely baffled and shocked. You can see it with your own eyes. I told you it was pointless. He then walked in and headed towards the bed. He put his hands through a ripped part of the mattress and then took out a box. This box has all my belongings. I tried my best to keep it hidden from my mother, and got lucky enough that she never found it. The box wasn't large, nor did it seem heavy. Gosh, problem child. Tell me kid, is there anything else I need to know about or search? It's obvious you know the other reason I'm here for. He paused for a little before speaking. You want to investigate and get some evidence? Search the basement. See for yourself, I'm not going down there with you. I'll be waiting outside instead. He said it while keeping his eye on his only belongings, and without any other word, he walked out. He had a faraway look in his eyes. I am not going to like what I'm about to see, am I said to myself. As I walked to the basement door, I kept getting a gut-wrenching feeling in my stomach, and it only got worse as I started opening the door. Once the door fully opened, the lights went on, and I froze in my spot. I couldn't believe what my eyes laid on. It was a literal crime scene. No, that is not the wording for it. It was a torture room. There's dried blood in every corner. Bloodied chains, bloodied WHPS, a chair with straps that are bloodied as well. The floors and walls have been clawed as well, seams from using his fingers. There are even metal rods that seem to have been heated before. I couldn't stay in basement any longer and started heading upstairs. Just trying to imagine what the kid has gone through in there makes me want to churn and throw up. How can anyone do this to a kid? Once outside of the house, my eyes laid on the kid and I couldn't help myself from bringing him between my arms and hugged him close to my body. Izuku's POV, after a while of waiting for Eraserhead to finish, he came out looking disheveled, and the moment he laid eyes on he brought me in between his arms and hugged me. I flinched and froze in my predicament. Oh Izuku, I'm so sorry you had to go through this. He whispered to me, hugging me even closer. I couldn't help but drop my belongings on the floor, only to feel something wet on my face. I was crying. It's okay, kid, it's okay to cry. I promise you nothing is ever going to harm you ever again, I swear it on my heart. Hearing him say these words, something inside me felt relieved. I loosened my body and gave in to his hug. I buried myself deeper into his arms and just let my tears fall. I don't know how long we stayed like that for, but by the time he released me the sun has already risen. Come on Izuku. Let's get you out of here and never return. I just gave him a nod, picked up my belongings and followed him to his car. The car ride back to you. I was silent, but at least it was comfortable silence. I guess I never really realized how much I yearned or needed to hear those words, to be able to feel safe, protected. I can now fully put my trust in them. If I haven't felt how genuine his words, I probably would still be a little skeptical about their motives, but in these few hours they proved they can be trusted. I hope I'm not making the wrong choice here. RD person POV. It was about halfway through the ride when Izawa got a call. When he checked the caller ID he knew he was about to get an earful. Degree hello Koyo degree hello me Izawa. The kid is gone, I searched everywhere for him. He disappeared just 2 seconds after I went to get something I forgot. Degree Izawa made sure to keep the phone away from his ears during her talk. Degree don't worry the kid is with and before you start reprimanding me let the kid explain himself. We're on our way back. Degree thank God he's with you, but you better have a really good excuse or my cane won't be the last thing you see. Degree Izawa got nervous at her statement. Degree okay we'll get back to you soon, we're almost there and I have some news. Degree with that he closed the all and side-eyed Izuku who's next him. You better have an excuse as you're going to have to give her a reason on why. You left and followed. Izuku remained quiet but gave a slight nod. He did just hear the entire conversation after all. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, a certain chimera isn't happy as well on what he found during his research and investigation. They are in for a very long conversation soon, for each is about to state about their findings. And nobody is going to like what they are going to hear. Now that they have seen everything with their own eyes, they know for a fact that Izuku's summary of his life was just a gist of it. On the other hand, striking light blue eyes were keeping watch over a certain green-haired kid. So, we just got to wait a little longer. Nizu's POV. The moment Izawa left to the little kid's house, I began my own search on his school life. I began first with his school files, and I already don't like what I'm reading. It says here that Izuku is a slacker and a delinquent. He would always distract his classmates and never submits his assignments or classworks. It says also how he always makes a ruckus in the hallways and how he tends to bully any person that gets near him by punching or pushing them. I couldn't believe a word written in this file. Nothing here sounds like the kid. He's smart and observant, quiet, and if anything, the bruises and the burns on his body says differently about who is on the receiving end of the bullying. So without a second thought, I hacked through the cameras and watched every single footage. What I saw was absolutely terrible. The treatment of his teachers, his principal, his classmates, his entire school, it is in no way acceptable in any way, shape, or form. I knew the treatment of the quirkless is bad, but not to this extent. Now it makes sense why the suicide rates for the quirkless extremely high. Watching this makes my blood boil. Humans are atrocious, and they are taking this too far. Something needs to be done. I muttered to myself, I'm going to put a stop to this, or so will the world come to an end by my own hands. I kept on watching, gathered every single evidence about the treatment of this kid, whether it is in public or school. And before I even knew it, the sun has risen, so I stopped where I am and got up to meet with Izawa. He should be back now from his expedition. RD person POV. Izawa and Izuku arrived to see that both 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐚𝐫𝐲 and 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐚 were waiting for them outside. Izawa. I hope you have news for me as much as I have news for you. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚 stated. He wasn't asking, something that both Izuku and Izawa noted. In fact, I do. But first let's head on inside, we have a lot to discuss. Izawa answered. With you on that. Let's head to my office, since I got all the footage in there, as I'm pretty sure that the both of you would like everything yourselves. They both nodded to 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚's suggestion, while Izuku just followed them. While we're on it, I'm gonna make some tea as I know that we're going to need it. We're in for a long day. But don't even think that I have forgotten about you leaving just like that. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚 said as they went ahead while she left to make some tea. Izawa placed a hand on Izuku's shoulder. You're in for a long talk, so I'm wishing you luck from now. Izawa told him, and Izuku just mutely nodded, looking downcast. After all of them settled in on the coaches, with Izuku sitting next to Izawa and the other two adults on the other coach, and tea brewed and ready, they began the discussion. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚 spoke first. I think it would be best if you start first, Izawa, but can we know why Izuku here was with you? And have you managed to get his belongings? Straight to the point. Honestly, for your first question, ask him, 'cause this problem child has actually managed to sneak up on me, but as for your second question. He paused before looking at the small box Izuku was holding. This is all the belongings he has. Both 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚 and 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚 wide-eyed at his statement. You sure that this all your belongings, honey, as in there is nothing missing from it? 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚 was the one who asked, and Izuku just nodded as a confirmation. But back to the topic, when I entered his house, the stench of alcohol and blood littered the room. There were broken alcohol bottles all over. Then I went to search for his room. But when I opened the door, I was shocked to see it so barren. There was nothing in it but a small broken wardrobe, a broken bed with only a mattress, nothing else on it. The only other thing in his room are the bloodied bandages and empty bottles of antibiotics. He had this box hidden in the mattress as to hide it from his mother, as it is his only precious belongings. You will find that all the other rooms are fully furnished and clean. He took a pause and released a sigh before continuing. After Izuku got his belongings, he told me that if I wanted more evidence I should check the basement, and then he proceeded to wait outside. Once down there, I couldn't believe what I saw. If all the other things mentioned weren't enough indications, then this was. He looked the heroes straight in their eyes before answering their awaited question. It was a torture room. He didn't need to mention anything else. The room went silent for a couple of seconds. Before 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚 spoke again. Oh boy, if what you mentioned wasn't horrible enough, then you would despise what I'm about to show. Like the little fella said, his school life wasn't any easier. He then proceeded to show them the documents, the files, and the videos. If they weren't angry enough after hearing Izawa, they are livid now after seeing it with their own eyes. Throughout the entire meeting, Izuku remained quite not uttering a word, so when he looked up and saw the anger in their eyes while seeing how his life went, it baffled him. It's the first time in his life he saw people getting angry in his stead, and Izuku definitely saw murder in both 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚's and Izawa's eyes. When all is done, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚 got off her seat and gave Izuku a caring hug. We're sorry that you had to go through all this. I promise to give you the best healing and treatment methods, and please, come to me whenever you need something, anything, and I'll be there to help you out. Izuku felt how genuine her words are. She means it. Thank you. The other two smiled on this small gesture, though they will deny it. They remained like that for a couple more seconds before she let go of him. Seeing him like this, his stoic face and dull eyes, how much he suffered throughout the years, the pro-heroes have decided that they would spoil this kid rotten and get him what his heart desires. They shall treat him with the care and love he hasn't received. I say we should stop talking about all this depressive stuff. How about instead you settle into my house for now? You need rest and I'm pretty sure you don't want to spend it here in the infirmary. Izuku agreed with Aizawa. Then let me give you a checkup before you leave, dear. Just to make sure all your bandages are still intact and that I haven't missed any other injuries. After the checkup, Aizawa drove them to his apartment. Once they arrived, he took out his house keys and opened the door. Izuku's POV. After Eraserhead opened the door, I was met with two black cats idly sitting by. Didn't I forgot to mention about them? Eraserhead whispered to himself. I hope you like cats, sorry I forgot to mention them to you. I don't mind, in fact I love animals. I've always wanted one, but you know why I couldn't. The entire time, the cats haven't once averted their eyes off me, checking me. But neither have I kept eye contact with them. Problem child, I would like you to meet the two devils Coffee and Midnight. Midnight, Coffee, this is Izuku, he will be staying with us for a while, so behave. Coffee is the one with hazel eyes and Midnight is the one with dark blue eyes. At that moment I crouched down and reached out with my hand. I didn't move an inch, letting them make the first move. They stared at my hand before sniffing it. After a few seconds I got a meow of acknowledgement from Midnight, both rubbing their heads on my hand. My eyes softened to that. Thank you for acknowledging and accepting me. It means a lot. I returned the gesture by patting them both gently. I'm shocked. They actually allowed you to pat straight away. It took me weeks before they allowed me to touch them. He had an astonished look. Let's go inside and settle you in, you need to rest. You can ask me then if you have any questions. We went inside and gestured me to sit on the couch. Welcome to my humble abode, and hopefully yours as well. He whispered the last bit to himself, but I heard him. Feel free to lay down if you're tired, kid. Let me make you something to eat and then you may begin your questioning. He left to his kitchen while I hung out with his cats. They each laid on one side of my legs, and I gave them soft, gentle strokes. I can tell that they love this. I don't see why Eraserhead calls you two devils. You're quite cute if I must say so myself. I got a small meow from Coffee as a response. A couple minutes later, Eraserhead came back with 2 plates of soup. I know that you won't be able to stomach much food, so I made something easy to digest. I need you to eat as much as you can of it. I nodded and then we ate in silence. I couldn't eat more than 4 spoons before feeling the need to throw up, even that I have already ate more than I usually do. Which is about 2 bites. You sure you can't eat any more, kid? Not even 1 more spoon. I shook my head. I won't be able to stomach another bite, especially since I already had more than I already can. Eraserhead just nodded gravely. I understand. So he decided to change the subject. May I ask, how did you tame these 2 devils? Last I know is that they won't even lay down like that next to me. He said, giving them a small look of betrayal. He really loves cats if he's reacting like that. I thought. I didn't do anything, they did it themselves. I can't see the reason why you calling them devils. They're absolutely adorable little ones. Oh, trust me, they are. But I don't know why they're behaving like this. They're acting so tame towards you. Maybe it could be that I have a way with animals. Animals always tended to be drawn to me, just like I was to them. Though I never knew why. Eraserhead dash. He cut me off. Please call me Aizawa, kid. You are going to be with me for a few nights. Aizawa, might I ask you why the naming? I can understand Midnight, as her fur and eyes makes me think of the dark night skies, but Coffee. I don't get why. Is it because you love Coffee that much? You got Midnight spot on, but as for Coffee, the reason why isn't because I love Coffee, which I do dash, but because this little guy acts as a kid high on caffeine. He's pretty calm now, but just wait and see, he's quite the menace. Once he finished, he looked at the time and gave a big sigh. Would you look at the time? As much as I don't want to, I'm gonna have to leave to teach some brats. I'm already late as I am. I'm going to leave you in the care of these two, so please remain here until I come back. Can you at least promise me that? Okay, I promise. Thanks, kid. Take rest until I come back. He ruffled my head before leaving, but not before saying how much he needs an extra large cup of coffee. Well, I guess it's just me and you for the rest of the day. We remained seated, and without realizing it, I dozed off until we fell asleep with midnight and coffee on my lap, feeling safe. RD person POV. Izuku came back home later that day to see it clean and tidy. I can't believe he cleaned the house. He arrived at the living room to see him resting on the couch with his cats. Gosh, problem child, just why did you clean the house? Kid, you're not here so you can do house chores, and I even asked you to rest. Izuku shrugged his shoulders. I did rest, but I needed to do something to get my thoughts together. Izuku sat next to him. Can you elaborate for me? Only if you are comfortable with it. Izuku asked. Izuku side-eyed him and gave it a thought before answering. Well, to begin with, everything doesn't seem real to me. The kindness, the honesty, and the generosity I got from you, Principal Nizu and Recovery Girl, are just too good to be true. Then you tell me you can help me get better, to train me, to help me become someone capable of helping other people. It's too good to be true. With everything I've been through, you would think that none of this is real, and it's all a dream that I would wake up from soon. It's just that things are happening so fast that I couldn't get the chance to comprehend it until now. All I had was the animals, the shadows, and myself. By now Izuku was rubbing his hand. I've always sought comfort from animals, and if I couldn't find them, I'd seek it through the shadows and darkness. I never knew why, but it always seemed to ease me, to comfort me, make me feel safe. So knowing now that there is a possibility for me to lean on someone else seems just too serene for me. It even occurred to me that I actually died when I jumped, and I'm just seeing things that I wished for, but it doesn't make sense. I sound stupid, don't I? Throughout the entire time, Izuku remained silent and just left Izuku to vent out his thoughts. He listened and didn't interrupt him once. So once Izuku finished, Izuku got up and kneeled in front of him, taking in both Izuku's hands and looked him straight in the eyes. Listen to me, Izuku, and believe me when I say this is real. And you're not stupid for thinking that, but the opposite. I can understand why you would have these kinds of thoughts, as I've been through some kind of similar thoughts. You see and experience many and different kinds of situations during hero work. Though I might not fully comprehend your situation, I can definitely understand the reason behind your thoughts. I've known you only for a few hours, but I can definitely tell you this: you are a bright child and even have a brighter future. You have so much potential, more than I have ever seen in the years of teaching and doing my job, even more so as a hero. We promise to help you and take care of you, to give you all your needs because you deserve it, and I'll always be there for when you need me, I promise. So lean on me or on Nizu or even Recovery Girl. I'm 100% certain that they would lend you a shoulder or even a hand. I know it might seem like everything is changing for you, but I promise it's for the better. He got up and gave Izuku a hug. You deserve so much. So please put your trust in us and let us help you. You might be quirkless. He let go of the hug and looked him in the eyes again, but you can become a hero, a true hero. You'll show the world what a hero truly means, and we'll be here to help back you up, quirk or no quirk. No question. A single tear dropped from Izuku's eyes, and then another, before he left his tears be. This is the first and probably the last time that my tears have fallen so much. Really means a lot to me, so thank you. Everyone told me I can't become a hero, and that includes All Might as well. He what? Michim. He said that all people like me can do is hinder people like him. Hearing it from All Might is what caused any last bit of hope that I had left disappear. Even if it was only a sliver. Oh, I am gonna have to give All Might a serious talk the next time I see him. And don't you dare believe him. What a fing hypocrite. Izuku realized what he said at the end, so he tried to change the subject. Anyways, I have some good news for you from Nizu. A hypocrite? I guess I'll have to ask about it another time, seeing how fast he changed the subject. Izuku thought. Nizu told me that your house will be finished by tomorrow afternoon, And you'll be going with me as well to introduce you to everyone else, since you will be living on the campus soon," he said with a soft smile. "That was fast," Izuku said, a little surprised. "Well, with someone like 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽𝐽 working on it, it would finish in no time. Although, I want to be honest with you, I was actually hoping that you stay a little longer." Aizawa then got up and ruffled his hair, a habit he plans on keeping just for him. "Now let's have dinner. I still have to go on patrol later on." He's opened up a bit. Hopefully he'll be able to open up to us completely one day. I can tell that there was more he needed to say, but isn't ready to fully trust me yet. For now we'll take things slowly for his sake. Aizawa thought before he closed the door behind him and left for his nightly duties. Izuku's POV, it was the next morning. "I'm currently dressing up so Aizawa would take me to UA. If you're ready, let's head of Izu." Aizawa called out. "Izu?" I asked with a tilt of my head. "Well, it's a nickname for you. And I think it suits you," he answered me, then ruffled my head again, before opening the door and heading for his car. The drive there was pretty quiet, and once at UA's staff parking lot, both 𝐒𝐻𝐿 and Recovery Girl along with another pro hero, who I recognize as Present Mike, were waiting for us. I wondered why he was there but just shrugged it. If he was with them, then it's for a reason. I looked at Aizawa and gave him a look that says, "Don't expect me to lower my guard around the others." He nodded, understanding the unsaid sentence, and understanding that I'm not willing to trust any of them. For now, that is. "Welcome to your soon-to-be home, little fella." 𝐒𝐻𝐿 welcomed us. "Now before we start the tour around, fair warning that you will be meeting the entire faculty as you will be living on the campus soon. Don't worry though, as everyone has been informed about this, but not the reason as to why yet. I need your permission for that. We'll talk more in more detail once inside." I nodded, and then looked warily at Present Mike. "You don't have to worry much at Yamada here much, Izu. I trust him, but if he does do anything that makes you uncomfortable, you can just leave him to me," Aizawa told me while giving Present Mike a look making him physically shudder and laugh a nervous laugh. Hello little listener, as you know by now I am the pro hero Present Mike. It is nice to officially meet you. Aizawa here told me a bit about you," he said, reaching his hand out for a handshake. I just stared at him skeptically, not willing to shake his hand yet, so he just stood there awkwardly. "Alrighty then, since we're done with the introduction, why don't we head on in and begin the tour already? I would like to give Izuku here a checkup after all is done and over with. Of course, only if you don't mind, sweetie." Recovery Girl broke the awkwardness, saving Present Mike from any more embarrassment. And with that we headed on in with 𝐒𝐻𝐿 and Recovery Girl at the front and Aizawa and Present Mike behind me. Present Mike was trying to talk in hushed whispers with Aizawa, but me being me with what I've been through, I managed to hear each and every single word. I'm pretty sure 𝐒𝐻𝐿 is hearing everything as well. Show what the heck. A little warning about the little listener hating handshakes would have been nice. I just stood there like an idiot until 𝐒𝐲 here saved me from any more embarrassment. I did warn you before that he doesn't trust people, especially heroes. But here you are trying to ask for a handshake from someone who is obviously wary of you. So no, this isn't on me, and you're the one who put yourself in that awkward situation. Aizawa answered him back. It's going to take a lot to get a tiny bit of trust from him, and even longer to get him to lower his guard a bit. I can tell you this because we can tell that he hasn't placed his full trust in us, but he is willing to lower his guard a little. This is only for me, 𝐒𝐻𝐿 and 𝐒𝐲, but as for the rest you have to give him a reason and show him that you mean it for Izu here to even think of not being wary of you. So you want him to talk to you, then you better get working on it. He finished off, then moved to walk next to me. I know you were listening in on our conversation, he whispered to me. Wouldn't expect any less from one of the most, if not, efficient underground hero. I whispered back. But the only wrong thing you told him is that you actually do have my full trust. Just keep it away from the others for now. And the same thing goes for you, Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐿. You could hear a slight chuckle coming from 𝐒𝐻𝐿, but widened eyes and a slight twitch of a mouth upwards from Aizawa. Even if they were there briefly, I managed to notice them. He's good at masking his emotions. We toured the entire campus and met all of the faculty and teachers. All fell for the same awkwardness and embarrassment as Present Mike, before being saved by either of the 4 people with me. Throughout the tour I haven't spoken a word, except for that one moment with Izuku, and now we are in Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻's office to discuss the important matters before a checkup, then after that they'll show me the house they built for me. Izuku's POV. Once I said what I needed to say to Hisashi, I moved forward to talk with Izuku, and walked beside him. I know you were listening in on our conversation. I whispered to the problem child. Wouldn't expect any less from one of the most, if not, efficient underground hero. But the only wrong thing you told him is that you actually do have my full trust. Just keep it away from the others for now. And the same thing goes for you, Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻. He whispered back. I couldn't help but for my eyes to widen a bit, and I couldn't help it when I almost twitched into a smile, but I masked it as fast as it appeared. The kid has definitely noticed, but decided not to comment on it. But how did he know 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻 was listening in? And judging by that chuckle from 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻, he wasn't expecting it either. We continued the tour and introduced Izuku to everyone, but not without saving them from the awkward situation they placed themselves in. I swear most of the time they are just idiots. Well, we warned them, so it got nothing to do with us. Once all is done, we sat in 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻's office to discuss what we mentioned when we arrived, but not without kicking Hisashi first. Of course he did try his best to stay, but it was all futile and he left sulking, mumbling something about it being unfair. Alright, let's cut to the chase. As I mentioned earlier this morning, I said that everyone here knows that you'll be living on campus, but not as to why. Began 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻. And honestly both sides didn't give. The best first impressions, understandable from you but not the others, as we did warn them on the possibility of you being wary of them. So Izuku, do you give us the permission to tell them the reason? He ended with asking Izuku. Problem child seems to be contemplating about it before he gave us an answer. I agree on you telling your staff and faculty about it. Not like they can do anything with that information. Sure, they could use it to torment me more, not like I'm not already used to it or they somehow decide to post it online or whatever, no one would care, for as the moment they read the word quirkless, people would just shrug it off and say it's another quirkless person making a tantrum, trying to get attention. As much as we want to disagree with him, we know that this is the reality of our world. And currently there is nothing we can do about it. I can see your reasoning, but you don't have to about any of this happening, for if it does, 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻 smiled cruelly, I can promise you that they won't see the light of the day for the rest of their lives, in both legal and illegal ways. He finished laughing and sipping on his tea. We could tell it satisfied the problem child. Then you can use that information as you wish. Wow, he really meant it when he said that he placed his trust in us. It might have not shown, but we're all happy of this development. That's great. All what's left now is for 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻 here to give you a checkup, then we'll head on to show you your soon-to-be new home. 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻 adjourned. And with that, the meeting was adjourned and we left to finish the main reason we came here for. 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻's POV. This kid seriously amazes me. I have no idea how he knew I was listening in, but he is sharp. This tour was surely amusing. Seeing all my staff being embarrassed and shamed by this little fella was something akin to amusement and joy for me, and I'm pretty sure Izuku and 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻 think the same. Once all was done, and the meeting adjourned, we took the little fella to do his checkup before showing where he is going to live soon. I need a nickname for him. I thought to myself. I would never admit it, but I'm slightly jealous of the nickname Izuku gave the little fella. It's cute and it really suits him. I need to come up with something better. Okay, Izuku, I'm going to change your bandages, and since you've got a bit of energy, I'd be able to heal you a bit more. 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻 said and got to work. She took about 10 minutes to change his bandages, and ended by giving him a smooch on his forehead. Thank you, recovery girl. Nonsense, my child. And call me 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻, and if you're uncomfortable calling an old lady like me by my name, call me grandma at the least. Now I'm giving you these medications, so make sure you take them 2 times a day, one in the morning and another at night. I will know if you didn't take them. If you feel any pain, make sure to come to me immediately. Izuku nodded his head. I involuntarily shuddered. Let's hope he takes her threat well and take his medication, for she will know if he didn't and he's gonna have to face the consequences of her wrath. And do believe me when I say that she is terrifying with that walking stick of hers. Now that all is done and well, it's time to finish this tour with the main reason you were brought here. So let's get moving. I mentioned as they followed me out. For your information, little fella, we have decided to build your house in one of the school's secluded forests, far enough but close to enough to everything, with your privacy valued. It is perfect, as it is a private place, which means that you won't be bothered by people, and you will be protected and under our care at any and all times. A bonus is that it is close by to my own house, so anytime you need something or I need something off you, I would be nearby. I finished. Now to see his reaction. RD person POV. They went deep into the forest west side of UA towards a large clearing. In the midst of it stood a large, appealing 2-story house, with a beautifully paved pathway towards it. Izuku stood dumbfounded, then he tilted his head slightly. There has to be a mistake. This can't be my house. Are you sure you didn't mistake it as your house or someone else living here, or that we took the wrong route somehow? No problem, child, we didn't take the wrong route, and this isn't Nizu's or anyone else's house. This is 100% your house. Aizawa told him with a hint of a smile on his face. But I thought I was going to get like a small house, like a small apartment size or something. Not this is a whole but huge villa. I don't deserve something this grand. Are you sure you didn't make a mistake? Nizu cut him off. When would you stop talking nonsense, little fella? We've already said that only the best would be given to you. I had Cementos to give it his all while building this. I also got the best interior designers known to decorate the insides. Everything is to be done to perfection for you, little fella. We promised you that you would be living a better life from now on, Izu, so no DMN, well, that everything we provide you would be given a lot of thought and care. So, welcome to your new home. I don't know what to say. Thank you very much. He stuttered, bowing to them. Izuku hasn't stuttered in a very long time, as this came as massive shock to him. The fact that they managed to make him show more emotions had brought a small smile on their face. Come on now, dearie. Raise your head, and there is no need to thank us. After all, we're only fulfilling a promise. Let's get inside and check out the interior, since I haven't seen what the inside is like. And do please refrain from using any vile words if you can. Koyo added, heading towards the door. To put it lightly, the inside was absolutely amazing. The interior designers had really done their all for this. The interiors and designs chosen are all meant to bring comfort and solace. They're all part of the same theme and aesthetic. Every room they entered was even better than the other. The aesthetic chosen is dark and earthy, something that Izuku thought that fits him perfectly. On the first floor, it housed a medium-sized kitchen, a large living area, 2 bathrooms, 1 guest room, and an office area. Izuku straightaway had an idea on how and what to do in the office. We can't also forget the giant forest backyard with a private training ground, and a small lake a little distance away. They concluded seeing the first floor and now are climbing the stairs towards the second floor. This is where the real surprise would be. The second floor contained only 2 rooms, the library and the MSTR bedroom. They were astonished. If the first floor was absolutely beautifully designed, the second floor was just through the roof. The library had shelves upon shelves filled to the brim with books all the way up to the roof, coupled with sliding ladders. In the middle was a circular coach built into the floor with an artificial campfire in the midst of it, which can provide heat and warmth during cold days and nights, but it is the roof that left them shell-shocked, but obviously masking it. The roof was made to look as if you're staring straight into the galaxy, and with a press of a button found right beside the door, it all comes to life. It makes it seem as if you're flying in space, with the whole room littered with stars and planets of all different shapes and sizes. One can let his imagination run wild in this amazing. There were just not many words to describe it. This is for sure Izuku's favorite room thus far, and he's pretty sure that this is where he will spend most of his time in. And now for the final room, the MSTR bedroom. The room fits the same dark and earthy aesthetic of the house. It has a king-sized bed centered on the left-hand side of the wall, with directly in front of it stood large glass doors that lead to the balcony, which overlooks the training ground as well as the appealing scenery of the lake and forest. The wall in front of them has a door that leads to the walk-in closet. Built within it is a big full-body mirror. There is one other door which leads towards his own private bathroom with any and all necessities a person could need. We can't also forget about the built-in hot tub that overviews a small window of the forest. Well, problem child, I gotta hand it to you. This house is more appealing than most of the rich mansions I've seen in my life. Aizawa stated, ruffling Izuku's hair. So little fella, what do you think? If there is anything you don't like, tell me so that I can change it to fit more your needs. Nizu exclaimed. Izuku was quiet at first. Who could blame him? For someone who lived his entire childhood in misery, this would be very overwhelming. I don't know what to say. I never thought I would bring myself to say this, but I love it. I don't know how I can even express my gratitude. Izuku might not have realized it, but his eyes were shining, even if it is brief, but our pro-heroes had seen it. This has brought a smirk on Nizu's face, and soft smiles on Aizawa's and Koyo's faces. I'm glad that you like it. So Izuku, welcome to your new home. And as the principal of this prestigious school, I formally welcome you to UA. Here's your keys. Aizawa will go get your things later on. For now we're going to let you settle in, so take your time and we'll be back later at night as we have a couple of things we need to finish. So Aizu, take your time settling in, and we'll see you later. I will have your belongings when I come back, so rest up. Aizawa ruffled Izuku's hair and waved him goodbye, and the rest followed up. Izuku didn't know what to do now. He stood there for a while before deciding to head to his, now new, bedroom. He flopped on the bed and just laid there, thinking and contemplating on what to do now. He's very thankful for everything they did for him up until now, but this, as it has been mentioned more than once, is overwhelming. It is a massive change from his childhood. You know what, why am I overthinking this? Everything is changing for the better currently, I should try to embrace it. Izuku thought. From now on, I'll work my hardest to repay them back, for everything. He made up his mind, and now he has two goals in mind to make a reality. Suddenly, a rustling sound was heard outside. What was that? Izuku questioned, running towards 𝐒𝐿𝐵's balcony. He squinted his eyes, searching the area, but nothing was found. He kept a lookout a little longer, and that's when he locked his eyes with ones with glowing light blue eyes. We have waited a long time, and now it is time. Time to finally awake. It spoke to Izuku. Then suddenly, without a warning, they both vanished. No trace was left behind. Aizawa's POV. Once we left, we decided to have a small meeting between us before we get going to do what we have to. So, when do you plan on destroying that good-for-nothing school? And don't play innocent, I want in on this plan of yours. I began. You're not the only one who wants to be in on this. You better tell us what you want to do, or that school and anyone who hurt that child won't be the only people who would receive the end of my anger. Koyo chimed in. And you know damn well I can make your life here in UA a living hell. Nizu shuddered. We know well that she means those words, even though she's old, she's still as terrifying as ever. Now Koyo, there's no need for you to use your cane on me yet. I was already planning on telling everything to you too, hence this meeting is for. Have a seat and take a cup of tea each. We sat down and he began talking. Let's just say that this meeting has ended with some eating grins on couple of faces. But just before we left, I asked one final question. Do you plan on roping Izuku in on this, or do you plan on keeping it a secret from him? Of course I'm going to rope him in on this. He deserves a front row seat to see everyone and everything that has harmed him fall into chaos and despair. Might as well make it a special surprise/gift for him. Ha ha ha. Koyo and I may have slightly moved our chairs further away from him. Alright then, I'll go check on Izuku briefly. I'll see how's he coping before heading to patrol. I'm not going to be able to get his stuff until tomorrow morning. I'll see you two tomorrow then. I waved them goodbye and left to check on Izuku. It has been half an hour since we left him. After a short swing over the trees, I arrived at his new home and knocked on the door. Hey problem child, it's me. Can I come in? I waited a couple of seconds but there was no answer, so I knocked again. Izuku, are you in there? Again, no answer. I began to get worried and anxious. I knocked harder on the door, but still dead silence. Alright, that's it, I'm coming in. I barged in through the door and began looking for him throughout the house. I searched everywhere and found nothing. Not a single trace of him. I began to panic and decided to search for him outside, but the forest area is massive and I'm going to need some help. I took out the phone and dialed Nizu. Degree Aizawa, Why are you degree Izuku's missing degree? Explain. Degree. When I knocked on the door, there was no answer, so I barged in. I searched through the entire house and haven't found a single trace of him. I'm currently searching through the forests, but I need help. Degree. I'll call the police and Tsukachi, as well as any hero in the vicinity to help out. Izuku wouldn't have left without saying something or leave without any indication that he left. Degree. Tell them to get moving fast. I'll keep searching here till I find a trace of him, and I'll recheck the house again. Degree. I'll check the cameras around you. Call me if you find anything. Degree. Alright, but keep me in check on everything. Degree on it. Degree. I closed the line and resumed searching. Come on, Izuku, where are you? I hope you're okay. Whatever is going on, I hope I'll make it in time. With my train of thoughts, I continued swinging through the forests. Izuku's POV. I open my eyes and find myself in pitch darkness. Where am I? How did I end up here? Last I remember was seeing those glowing eyes and then nothing. Except I did hear a voice. Rapid thoughts ran through my head as I paced around. Most people in my shoes would probably be worried, scared, or on high alert, but not me. It's quite the opposite. I feel absolutely. Though I can feel that someone is watching me. I know you're watching me. I can feel your gaze on me. I said out loud. It was dead silent for a brief moment, and that's when I heard footsteps behind me. I turn around to see the most appealing wolf I've ever seen with those same glowing bright blue eyes. It has black fur, with what seems like shadows dancing around it. Just as it appeared, others soon followed. They started appearing all around me. From my right side appeared a majestic dark horse, with its mane swaying with the shadows around it. To my left side appeared what seemed a stunning onyx nine-tailed fox that had green flames at the tip of its tail. Behind me appeared two other creatures. One was a magnificent black panther where, just like the wolf, the shadows danced around its fur. The other was a gorgeous black, hinted with emerald green, scaled snake. And finally, above me levitated three more creatures, who then landed to the sides. A ravishing raven with blue hints at the tip of its wings and tail, an elegant and alluring dark owl with a crescent moon shone on its forehead, and lastly a glamorous and exquisite coal-black dragon. We finally meet, little one. The wolf spoke. We have waited a long time for your appearance. You waited for me. But who are you? A better question, what are you? I've never seen anything like any of you before. And where am I? And why did you bring me here? I asked rapidly. Then introduction first is a must. The owl spoke in the most serene and appealing voice I ever heard. Then I shall introduce myself first. The wolf stated. My name is Erebus, and yes, I was the one to have brought you here. But don't worry, all will be explained in due time. The stallion on your right is Nightshade, the kitsune on your left is Neuro, the panther and snake behind you are Tenebris and Nathra, and finally our flying friends are Rava the raven, Moonlight the owl, and Ibishan the dragon. The wolf, Erebus introduced, and every time one was introduced, they either gave a small bow or a simple nod. Well, it's nice meeting you, but you still haven't answered any of my questions. I stated. Then allow me to explain to you, little one. The owl, Moonlight, began. Where we are now is in the realm of shadow and darkness, and we will give you more details of this later. For now, we are a part of what you people call today a quirk. We have been in search of someone who would be able to wield our power for more than 1,000 years. Wait, how is this possible when quirks only appeared about 150 years ago? And how can you be a quirk? I asked, interrupting her. That's a common misconception everyone assumes. The dragon, Ibishan, scoffed. What people don't know is that quirks have been available long before the beginning of the quirk era. They were just not common, and when humans did have any sort of powers, they were either feared and killed for it, or they lived their entire life hidden and in solitude of fear of dying and in being shunned. Wait, you mean the things like witches and sorcery back in history books of days before the quirk era? I stated. Precisely. Looks like you've read your history well. We have been waiting for the day, a sign, a spark that would awaken us, something to tell us that the one who would be able to wield us shall be born. Someone who is of pure heart, but willing to do what it takes and the changes necessary to reach the goals to true peace. And you, Izuku Midoriya, is that person. The stallion, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻, continued. But why me? Why was I the one chosen, when there should be people out there who would be more suited for this than me? That day, do you remember what you have said to yourself, what you determined and what you decided to dedicate your life to? The snake, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. That day. Does she mean? Do you mean the day I? That's exactly right, child. Your conviction, determination, and will to want to change this world for the better is what made us choose you to be the one who would wield our power. The panther, Tenebris, confirmed. It is true that others had a similar conviction to yours, but none had a strong will enough to work for it, but not you. You are different to all of them, and you should be proud of that. And with our power and help, we can shape you into the hero you want to be, as well as make your conviction become a reality. The raven, Rava, said, I don't know what to say. A million thoughts are running through my head, many questions I want to ask, but nothing will leave my mouth. This doesn't sound real. I know this might be a lot to take in, and that you have a lot of questions that you want answers to, but we swear to you that everything we said is true. And as much as we would like to explain everything for you in detail, we do not have the time. Your caretakers are searching for you as we speak and are very worried. For now, all we're asking you is, are you willing to accept us and become the wielder to the power, shadows, and darkness itself? The Nine-Tails, Neuro, exclaimed lastly. I'm confused and have a lot of questions. I want to know more, but one thing is certain, they are telling the truth. As I'm staring at what I assume is the floor, though it looks more like the void, I contemplated the offer. Every single fiber in my body is telling me to accept. My instincts have never failed me before, so why not trust it as I always do? I looked straight into Erebus's eyes. I accept, and I promise you I'll never misuse this power, to use it for the better future and to always treat you with respect. You have chosen wisely, little one. We ourselves shall always be there for you and to protect you. We will teach you about everything that you need to know. That's a promise. Erebus gave a small smile, then it all went dark again. RD person's POV, the heroes are in panic. They have been in search of Izuku for the past hour, not a single sign of him anywhere. Every hero and police available are searching the vicinities around and near UA, while Nizu, Aizawa and a couple of police officers searched the vast area of UA. Aizawa swung back and forth between the forests, worriness clearly evident on his face. His phone started ringing, so he picked it up seeing it was Nizu and answered it, not allowing Nizu to talk first. Degree, please tell me that you found him or at least a sign to where he could be. Degree, I'm sorry, nothing as of yet, but something weird is happening. Degree. Nizu, nothing matters to me now other than finding Izu. Degree. Don't interrupt me, Aizawa, and just look up to the sky. Aizawa looked up to the sky and nearly dropped his phone. The stars are moving, forming a swirly motion like storms, and down the center of it forming a black vortex only for something to come from it. Or someone. Izuku. Aizawa thought and sprinted towards the kid and caught him as he descended slowly to the ground. He examined him briefly and checked for his heartbeat. He's only unconscious, thank God he's okay. Aizawa, can you hear me? What is going on? Nizu shouted through the phone. The line was never closed. Aizawa picked up his phone and answered him. Nizu, I found him. I found Izuku and he's fine, only unconscious. ARD person's POV. Izuku was rushed to UA's infirmary. Both Nizu and 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 waited for them, worry clearly written on their faces. As soon as Aizawa placed him on the bed, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 rushed to check on him. Once done, she released a relieved sigh. He's all right, just unconscious. Both men sighed relievedly, tension from their bodies easing. Thank God. My heart was going to stop from the amount of worry I had. Aizawa said as he placed a hand where his heart lies. I am relieved he is safe and sound, but the question lies in what in the world has happened. He suddenly disappeared and then hours later reappears when the skies seemed as if a black hole was going to swallow the planet. Mind you that is not natural in any way or cause. Nizu spoke rather worriedly. Beats me. But at this current moment, All I care about is the fact that Izuku was brought back to us safe and sound. I know we have a lot of questions, but we can't do anything until the boy wakes up. Let's wait until the boy wakes up, and only after we make sure he is completely all right would you dare ask any questions. Now shoo, get out of here and let him rest. 𝐒𝐲 dismissed them. They hesitated for a brief moment but obliged to her demand. She might have hinted that they were going to feel the wrath of her cane if they didn't leave. And thus they all left, praying that Izuku would wake up soon. Izuku's POV. I open my eyes to find myself in a familiar room. This is the infirmary of UA. What am I doing here? I sat up slowly and looked around, then I remembered last night's encounter. Was everything that happened just a dream? Far from it, young one. A voice echoed as a figure appeared out of the shadows. My eyes widened slightly. It was Erebus. So everything that occurred was real. I looked at my hands, only for some shadows to suddenly appear, dancing in the palm of my hands. I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was astonishing, just appealing. This power. It's so warm. Erebus nodded. Indeed it was. And as you can see, you now have the power to rule over all to what is known as shadows and darkness. He inched closer towards me and sat by my side. Our promise to you will be fulfilled, and soon your questions will be answered. However, at the current moment you won't be able to summon the others as your current mastery of this power is weak and wild. I felt sad that I won't be able to see the others for quite a while. Erebus released a low chuckle. You don't have to worry, young one. You are still able to meet the others. You just need to visit the Shadow Realm. You just won't be able to summon them. I guess you have read my thoughts. I stared at him with a soft smile, and with a bit of hesitation on my side, I began caressing him on the head. He looked quite content with this, especially if his wagging tail was an indication. I could get used to this, I thought, but just as I was about to say something, the door suddenly opened and in came Principal Nizu, Aizawa and Recovery Girl. All three stood in shock at the sight of Erebus by my side, and Aizawa was about to spring into attack but paused when he noticed my hand on Erebus's head. For some reason, it felt good that Aizawa was about to attack in order to protect me. This feeling is odd to me. Care to explain where this dog came from? Actually, here's a better question. Care to elaborate on everything? Aizawa asked but was soon hit with a cane on his head. That definitely hurt. Did you just completely forget about what I said yesterday, you imbecilic buffoon? Recovery Girl interrupted him. You don't have to answer yet, sweetie, but I am in need of giving you checkup. Do you mind? Erebus looked towards me for confirmation, and I gave him a nod. He moved aside and that gave Recovery the go-ahead to check me. Once she was done, she gave the clear for everything. We all sat in silence. They were giving me the chance to begin talking, to explain what happened without rushing me to do it. Erebus laid by my side again to comfort me. So without further ado, I explained briefly what transpired, though I left out some pieces. I believe that I shouldn't mention everything yet. Safe to say, they were shocked to silence. So just to get our facts right, you're telling us that you were taken by shadow animals to a place called the Shadow Realm, they asked to accept them, and now you have a quirk. Nizu tried to confirm. No further confirmation needed. Throughout this ordeal, Erebus also remained silent, observing. Aizawa sighed loudly and pinched the bridge of his nose. You know, problem child, you really are a problem child. But you know, I feel like this would help you in the long run. He smiled gently. Honestly, if it wasn't for yesterday's strange occurrences, this would have been really hard to believe. Now that everything's settled, I think further explanation falls to me. Erebus said as he stood up and stretched. Shocked silence from the others, again. Why does this surprise you? Well, you haven't spoken a word yet, and I believe we speculated that perhaps Izuku might be the only person to understand you. Nizu elaborated. Fair enough. But I guess explanations to what all this entails should come to consideration. While everything Izuku has said is true, there are things we must discuss with him, but requires complete confidentiality. The only reason I'm willing to confide you with this secret information is because the young one here would not only require an adult's guidance, but someone to also be there for when he needs it. So, Can I trust that everything that will be mentioned from here on out will remain only to those in this room until further notice? Erebus concluded, not asking but demanding. They looked at each other, contemplating silently, before collectively nodding. Thus, everyone agreed. I'm feeling this feeling again. Are these my emotions? Very well. Erebus nodded, engulfing us in his shadow. When we opened our eyes, we were in the realm of shadow and darkness. Where are we? Recovery Girl asked. We're in the shadow realm, but why bring us here? I answered then, asking a question of my own. We needed a secure place to talk, and I believe an introduction to the others is a must. Erebus started but was cut off by a different voice. And it would also be better if we're all present to explain everything. It was 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲. How are you feeling, young one? It was Moonlight. I feel well, thank you, I replied. They smiled softly, glad that I'm feeling all right. Each of them introduced themselves to Izuku, Nizu, and 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐽. I believe the best way to explain everything is to start from the very beginning. Moonlight will do it as she'll be able to explain best. Nightshade stated, and the rest nodded. The stage is yours. RD person POV, as mentioned, will begin from the beginning. Moonlight began. Everyone believes that quirks have begun appearing about 150 years, but that's far from the truth. Quirks have actually started appearing even way beyond that era, dating back to 1,000 years before. Wait, hold on a minute. How's that even possible? This does not sound right. It makes no sense whatsoever. Izuku interrupted her. A snort was heard. That's what you humans assume, but everything you believed was not only a lie, but the truths were also rewritten and fabricated. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐽𝐽 butted in before Izuku continues on ranting. Listen in on everything we have to say, then you may ask your questions. Continue Moonlight, and let's get this done and over with. I'll pause every once every while to let my words sink in, so without further ado, I'll keep talking. Moonlight continued. Let me rephrase my words. While it's true quirks began to frequently appear 150 years ago, but in truth, quirks, as you call them, has popped in from time to time a very long time ago. The reason people didn't know about them is because humans were afraid of them. If you ever read history or fantasy books dating back before the quirk era, you'll notice that things talking about witch hunts, mysterious disappearance of people, appearance of weird creatures like Bigfoot, Yetis, werewolves, vampires, and many more. They weren't just fantasies or fake histories, they were humans gifted with quirks, but they had to live either in hiding or get hunted and killed. She paused to let the words sink. I'm sorry to butt in. Although you have briefly explained this to me yesterday, just not this in depth, but I have a question. Why is it that now quirks are the normal, when as you said, people were hunted for it before? Izuku asked, but before Moonlight could answer him, Nuro spoke. That's because humans didn't understand what was going on. And what humans don't understand, they fear, and what they fear they destroy. That's the human's nature. Izuku nodded to her answer, agreeing with what she stated. This is where we come in. As you can see, we were created from shadows. This realm is our home and where everything begins and ends. We watched this world for eons, waiting for the day we will descend to it, waiting for a person capable of wielding this power, someone to become the ruler of shadows and darkness. Moonlight continued. With a brief pause, she then nodded towards Nathra to continue. To become a ruler, the person needs to be someone who understands what it is to live in total darkness, what it's like to find solace in the shadows, someone who still has hope in this world and a strong longing to change it but needs to be willing to do whatever it takes to achieve it. And our little Izuku here fits these criteria. Nathra then signaled for Tenebris to continue. The little one here was forced to grow up fast. He lived in a world that doesn't accept him, teaching him at the mere age of 4 on how cruel life is. This caused solemn looks to appear on the adults' faces. Tenebris then approached Izuku and gently nuzzled him. You wanted to end it, the pain has become too much to bear. He continued dejectedly, but you knew you would survive, you knew that that moment was not going to be your last. Thus, you made a promise to yourself. A promise to change this accursed world. Izuku looked down to his feet. Rava flew and sat on his shoulder, and Nuro moved towards his feet, hugging him with her tails, both trying to uplift his mood. Rava picked up from where Tenebris stopped. This would be where our role comes in. Our whole existence, our purpose, is to serve the one who will rule over the shadows and to change this world to a future one of peace and tranquil. Whether it's by changing it or by destroying it and rebuilding it. That's why the requirements to become a ruler are almost impossible. Who's better to reshape a world than a person who understands what pain and misery not only towards himself but also to others, as well as having that urge to save those who are in the same predicament, using any means necessary to accomplish it. That's why you were chosen for this, Izuku. You might not see it yet, but we do, and you'll soon realize it too. We're not only here to help you but to guide you as well. Ibishin began, then turned to face the heroes with them. But we alone aren't enough. The little one needs a strong foundation. He needs guidance from the people around him. He needs at least someone he can lean on and help decrease the burden of this responsibility. He needs to learn how to rely on people and to put his trust and faith in them, especially since he grew up in a world that rejects him. That is your role and the sole reason you are here in the first place. Ibishin concluded, towering menacingly in front of them. We know this is a lot to take in, so we're willing to answer any questions you currently have. Erebus added to ease the tension a bit. A heavy silence settled over the room after the shadow creature's words. The heroes looked between each other, contemplating on what to do with this information and how to act on it. 𝐒𝐻𝐦𝐦𝐸𝐵 stepped forward slowly. I've heard and seen a lot of strange things in my time, but this is something else entirely. You're saying the world's been kept in the dark about the truth of the past. This isn't a minor thing but is a catastrophic level of misinformation. His voice measured, serious. Moonlight nodded solemnly. But we weren't the ones to hide these facts or change them. Humanity did. Out of fear. And over time, what began as fear turned into control, and if they can't control, they destroy. Aizawa crossed his arms tightly, his gaze flicking to Izuku. Then why let him suffer? His voice was low, angry. Why let a kid go through hell if you knew he was supposed to be this ruler of shadows? He said louder. Nightshade stepped closer, his voice quieter. We didn't. We were in deep slumber. We only awoke when this world shifted and realized that Izuku was to be our wielder. It's true that we can see what is happening in the world, but we are neither allowed to leave this realm nor intervene in anything until the one to change everything awakens us. Aizawa's gaze softened slightly. His voice no longer angry but still sharp. This is still a lot to throw at a kid. We know, Nathra replied, gently. But we couldn't have been capable of forcing this on Izuku even if we wanted to. Yes, he was chosen, but Izuku alone was the decider if he wanted to accept us or not. Aizawa's eyes widened slightly. Hold on. So you're saying that if Izuku rejected you, then you would have just remained waiting? For all you know, could be for centuries. Basically, Nuro replied with calm nod. Like Nathra said, we can't force this onto anyone. It has to be their choice, their will. You also mentioned something about the world. That the ruler could either decide to change it or destroy it. Can you elaborate on that segment? 𝐒𝐻𝐦𝐸𝐵 chimed in. If this world is deemed unworthy and it is the will of our chosen, then so it shall be. Rava replied with a quiet conviction. Recovery Girl, still and unusually quiet through most of the explanation, finally sighed and stepped closer to Izuku. She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, her eyes kind and filled with concern. Sweetheart, can you give us your thoughts on this? Izuku took a deep breath and sighed. I did choose to accept this power, and I do want to change the world. I'm willing to accept this burden. I promised myself that I would do whatever it takes to make it happen, but what if I mess up? He asked quietly at the end. Erebus came closer to Izuku. You'll stumble, he began softly. That's part of the journey, but you won't be alone. Not anymore. You have us now, and you have them. He gestured towards the adults. Izuku nodded with a strong conviction. The same conviction he had when he told the heroes of his dream, and when he accepted to become the wielder of this power. The shadows and heroes stared with pride. Aizawa came closer to Izuku, knelt down and placed a hand on his shoulder. We said it before, and I'll say it 1,000,000 times over if I have to. We promise to help you, And that's exactly what we would do. This changes nothing of what we view of you. We'll be with you every step of the way. I would love to see you succeed. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 pronounced in his chipper voice, meaning every word. I would just like to add, even if you didn't ask us to become his foundation, we were planning to be support no matter what. We know, that's why we trust his care in your hands. Moonlight stated with a gentle voice. Erebus then adds, his voice deep and steady, just one more thing. I've already mentioned this briefly to Izuku, but it's important that you hear it too. As things stand, Izuku can only summon me. The rest of us won't be accessible to him, not until he learns to control our power and grow stronger. He glanced at the adults. This power, it isn't something to take lightly. Each one of us holds abilities tied directly to who we are. Unique traits, strengths, and roles shaped by the very essence of the shadows and way more. He turned slightly, his gaze flicking to Izuku before returning to the others. I just need you to understand the severity of this power. Izuku requires more than just training, he will need real experience. You won't fully understand now, but once you witness what our powers are capable of, what Izuku would be capable of, you'll see why training itself won't be enough. The heroes exchanged a glance. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 gave a small nod towards Aizawa. That's doable, as we were planning to provide a provisional license for Izuku once sort a few things out. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 said thoughtfully. Aizawa followed up, eyes fixed on the shadows. But let's get one thing clear, and that there is no way that I would send Izuku out until I'm absolutely sure he can defend himself. I also won't allow him to do anything dangerous, even if he's capable of handling himself. In the end, he is still a child. Ibishin scoffed, a puff of steam coming out of his nostrils. That's a without a given. We're not foolish enough to send a child into dangerous waters. We just need you to understand the weight of what comes with this power. Understanding the importance of this matter or not, but don't you dare even think for a moment that I would allow you to start training this child until I say he can. I need to make sure first that his body is completely healed, healthy, nourished, and especially, be properly prepared. You hear me? Everyone nodded without a second thought. Izuku remained silent throughout this ordeal, feeling a quiet, genuine happiness bloom in his chest about the acceptance and affection he feels from them. He might not completely understand these feelings yet, but he knows he would be capable of learning. To be capable of expressing these emotions one day. With everyone in agreement, the beings of shadows surrounded them. Their eyes glowing brightly in the darkness, shadows engulfed the group, and in the blink of the eye, they were transported back to Yue's infirmary room. Izuku's POV, it's almost midnight. The night is silent. But a silent night is never a peaceful one. I already had to stop a couple muggings here and there. Rava, I called. She appeared through my shadow and landed on my shoulder. Scout out the area, call upon any ravens in the area, and try to get intel. Report any suspicious activity. I commanded her. With pleasure. She flew off. While she scouts, I kept on the move, checking for anything and everything. You can never be too vigilant. I learned that the hard way. Today marks my first solo mission, my final test before the UA entrance exams. It's been 4 years since that day. 4 years since I met Aizawa, Koyo, and 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲. 4 years since my life has turned for the better. My life has changed drastically since that day. It was a pretty confusing couple of years for me. It took quite a while to adjust and get used to my new life, to the fact that I'm no longer alone. Izuku, one of my ravens, found something. Rava spoke telepathically. Report your findings. I replied back telepathically. In my first year of learning on how to use my new profound powers, I discovered that I could speak telepathically to all my shadow companions. Additionally, I can always sense where they are and if they're ever in danger or in need of assistance, and the opposite applies. A bank robbery, the guy is on the run, he's 20 blocks ahead of you. Rava replied. Well done. I'm on my way and keep me updated on his location. I answered back. Already on it, I got visuals of him, 15 blocks ahead now, and he's sticking to the alleys. With her affirmation, I picked up my speed, jumping from rooftop to rooftop without making a sound. He's right ahead of you. I had visuals on him. No. I've got eyes on him now. Thanks, you can pull back now. Rava vanished back into the shadows. Nathra, be ready for my call. Already on it, she replied. I smirked to myself and kept after him, silent as the night. He darted to the left and slipped into a narrow alleyway, glancing over his shoulder to see if anyone was on his tail. Once he saw no one, he let out a relieved sigh. "Oh, you poor soul," I said, my voice echoing down from above. "Did you really think you could escape that easily?" I stood perched on the edge of the rooftop watching him freeze below me. Color drained from his face. Can't blame him. From his perspective, I probably look like the Grim Reaper. He tried to escape but found himself incapable of moving. I trapped him using his own shadow. He aimed his arms towards me, a desperate move. I called down, taunting. "I wouldn't try if I were you. My slithery friend down there doesn't take kindly to anyone with the incentive to hurt me." His gaze dropped down slowly, only to widen in horror. Nathra rising from his shadow, coiling her way up his legs slowly, inching her way up towards his shoulders. He's going pale. Looks like he's about to pass out. "Pee-pee, please spare me," he choked out. "I'm so sorry, please. I have a family to return to." I dropped down, landing softly, and walked towards him with measured steps. "Please, I'll return the money. I'm sorry," he pleaded, tears streaming down his face. "Nathra, release him." She withdrew from him and slithered silently to my side. Tears remained pouring out of his eyes. "If you're sorry, then why did you steal in the first place?" He swallowed hard. They needed the money." He stuttered. "My wife and daughter. They're sick. I don't have the money to pay for their medicine, and rent is due soon. I didn't know what else to do." "Don't you work?" I pressed. I was fired, his gaze lowered to the ground. "And no one is willing to hire someone like me. Please. I just want to help my family." He's speaking the truth. I let out a slow sigh and released him from his restraints. I motioned for Nathra to leave. "I'm allowing you to move again. Tell me, what's your name?" He hesitated for a brief moment before answering. "Mizuhara. My name is Sora Mizuhara." "All right, Mizuhara, here's the deal." I took out a pen and paper from my utility belt and jotted down a number on it. "Take this paper and call this number tomorrow morning. He's a guy I know. Tell him your situation, and he should be able to land you a job with a good pay." He was dumbfounded. "Wait. Why are you helping me? Shouldn't you call the police, tie me up and lock me in prison?" How do you know that I was even telling the truth?" he rapidly asked, nervously. I chuckled lowly. I know when someone is lying or when they're telling the truth, and no, it's not my quirk. Just instincts. Besides, you're just a guy who wants to help his family. I handed him the paper gently and gave a small nod. "Sometimes, people just need a chance, and I'm willing to give you this chance, but only on the promise that you would never resort to stealing again." Mizuhara stared at the paper in disbelief. He collapsed on the floor, crying, holding this paper like lifeline. "I won't waste this opportunity, I promise. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's hope to meet again, Mizuhara, but on better terms next time." I gave him a two-finger salute and vanished into the shadows. I moved back to the rooftops. Taking a seat at the edge, I let my eyes drift to the sky. "You can come out now, Izawa. I know that you were watching me from the beginning." "Not bad," he said as he stepped into view. "Can't say I'm surprised." He walked over, ruffled my hair and sat beside me. "Good job on never letting your guard down." I smirked faintly. "So, how'd I do?" Izawa tilted his head slightly, thinking. "You remained vigilant throughout the night, you never lost focus, stopped all the minor crimes diligently. You showed restraint, empathy, and control. You managed better than most pro-heroes on the field." I glanced at him. "But..." He rose his eyebrow and smirked at me. "There is no but, problem child. You were excellent. You passed with flying colors. And I couldn't be prouder of you." He ruffled my hair again. I smiled, proud of my accomplishment. "But you know," Izawa added, glancing sideways at me, "shouldn't you tone down your theatrics a bit?" I swear that guy was going to pass out from fear. I opened my mouth to respond, but before I could get a word out, Nuro appeared from the shadows and sat in my lap. And ruin the fun of it, she said with a grin. No way, never. It's our best form of entertainment. Izuku let out a sigh, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Why am I not surprised? I chuckled under my breath, reaching down to scratch under Nuro's chin. Come on, you've got to admit, it's a pretty effective tactic. Installing fear in their hearts gets them to spill everything without a fight. Nuro nodded in agreement. Besides, who do you think installed this on me? I asked with a deadpan. I know. Izuku muttered, rubbing his temples. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 and his DMN schemes. He shook his head, exasperated. Anyways, it's time to head back. Your shift is over, and we have a long day ahead of us tomorrow. I'm still annoyed that I'm not allowed to participate. I muttered, and completely destroy any chance for the others to try. He gave me a look of pure exasperation. Not a chance. I would have held back, you know. I added. That just makes it worse. Izuku shouted in pure frustration. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 is rubbing off too much on you. You're becoming more of a problem child every day. He muttered, sounding completely done with me. Nuro and I shared a glance and shrugged in unison. Those 4 years were a bliss to me. Once 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲, or Grandma as she insists me on calling her only in private though, finished healing me and gave me the all-clear to begin training, both Izuku and 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 did not hold back. We did start slow. Izuku focused on the physical aspect, while 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 decided to sharpen my mind further. I trained relentlessly, especially with my quirk. I kept training until I became capable of summoning everyone. There's still so much to learn, a lot to still figure out about this power, but Ibishin said that I exceeded their expectation with how quickly I'm progressing. I'm still living on the UA grounds, in the house 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 has built for me. Most of the time, I trained there with Erebus and the others, away from any prying eyes. We didn't want anyone from the UA staff to witness anything yet. They know of my existence, but nothing specific. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 made sure of that. The only other people I had actual interactions with and know a bit more about me were Present Mike, due to his closeness with Izuku, and even then, that was by accident, and Power Loader, since he helped with designing my hero suit and gadgets. Although I'm not participating in the entrance exam tomorrow, but I am going to be observing and analyzing the participants. Looking for any potential from those who would be obscured due to the exam structure, like those with mental quirks or subtypes like accumulation and stockpile quirks. Just to confirm, I had earned my provisional hero license just a year after I started training. The year after that, I officially started interning under Izuku's guidance to gain that real-time experience. Honestly, we understood why Erebus had emphasized for me to get out there. Training alone in enclosed and secluded areas only got me so far. It was out in the chaos and darkness is where I truly started to understand how my powers work. Shadows and darkness are unpredictable, hard to read, hard to control. But the more I got to feel it in the outside world, the more I began to understand it. It always felt strange to me how much I found solace and comfort in the shadows. I mean, let's be honest, it was my only form of escape from this accursed world. But now, it makes a lot more sense. As the years went by, I grew very close to Izuku, 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐽, and 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲. I was officially, unofficially, adopted by the 3 of them. 𝐒𝐮𝐽 becoming like a grandmother to me, 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐽 in a weird way like an uncle, and Izuku. Well, kind of like my dad. I will never forget the face he made when I called him Dadzuwa once, off-handedly. It was a slip of my tongue. Haven't realized I said it until the silence hit. I flinched when I realized what I said, expecting him to hate me for it, but in fact he smiled, genuinely. He ruffled my hair and then treated to something sweet. I was really surprised that day, but it ended up with me growing closer as well, opening up and expressing a bit more. And let's not forget about our 2 felines, Midnight and Coffee. They now live me. Izuku said they kept pestering him and tearing up his house until they saw me again. So, as a solution, he decided to hand them over to me. Said something along the line of how they clearly want me more than they want him. Still don't know why Izuku insists on calling them little devils. They're just lovely. As I arrived back home, I took off my clothes and collapsed onto my bed. Midnight and coffee jumped up and curled beside me, purring softly, their warmth comforting me. As I continued to reminisce my past, I slowly drifted to sleep. Tomorrow awaits. And with it, new beginnings and headaches to arrive. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 POV. What a joyous morning. The sun has just crested over the city skyline, casting long golden rays across UA's sprawling campus. The birds chirped sweetly, oblivious to the chaos soon to be unfold. I sipped my morning tea. Earl Grey, steeped precisely at 92 degrees for 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Perfect. My whiskers twitched in delight. Today was no ordinary day. No. Today was entrance exam day. Oh, how I adore this day. The anticipation in the air was practically electric. Hundreds of wide-eyed, hopeful students would soon arrive, brimming with nerves, ambition, and terror. And rightfully so. After all, it wouldn't be much of a test if it didn't push them to their absolute limits, now would it? After all, I have a name and a principle to uphold. Just as I was savoring my tea, a knock echoed from the door, cutting through my thoughts. Come in. I chirped, then sipped. The door opened, revealing Izuku, with Izuku trailing close behind him. Well, good morning. I greeted cheerfully. Morning. They replied in unison. Tea, anyone? I offered, gesturing towards the still steaming pot. Yes, please. Izuku replied with a polite nod. I'll pass, Izuku said, conjuring a mug seemingly from thin air and took a sip. Triple shot black coffee for me as always. You know, I'll never understand how you can drink that stuff. Izuku muttered with a deadpan stare. Izuku merely shrugged and took another sip from his mug. All right, before we dive into today's agenda, I said, turning to Izuku with a proud smile, I want to congratulate you on your first solo stakeout last night. Izuku filled me in on all the details. Impressive work. Izuku offered a shy smile, eyes dropping to the floor. Thank you. Now, getting back to the main topic, the entrance exams. I began. You already know what you have to do, Izuku, but there are 2 options available for you, Izuku. Izuku and Izuku shared a glance, not expecting what I had just said. What do you have in mind? Izuku asked, leaning slightly forward. I took a sip of my tea. The first option, the one you know of, is to take a seat with the other teachers in the examination room, observing the participants directly as an official examiner. You get to provide your own points and get to focus on those we miss, giving you the free will to analyze all participants. A pause and a sip. The second option is to act as a fake participant. Oh boy! I heard Izuku mutter before sighing, slouching deeper into his chair. You'd be in disguise, I continued, running through the tests alongside the applicants. A hidden examiner of sorts. You'll be judging their reactions, powers, and strategy. Most importantly, you'll be the final decider of whether they deserve to pass based on their actions. The choice is yours. So, what you're basically saying is I either sit behind screens with the other teachers, or I get hands-on action by playing with the applicants. Izuku said, summarizing what I had just explained. Very much so. I replied in a chipper voice. But before Izuku could even form his answer, a familiar shape stirred at his feet. Nuro rose smoothly out of his shadow and jumped on Izuku's lap. Of course, the second option. Nuro stated without hesitation. Izuku, you'd be crazy to choose the first option. Izuku chuckled, shaking his head. You know damn well I'm choosing the second option. Oh, for goodness sake. Izuku groaned, dragging a hand down his face. We all know damn well why you decided that. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲, you just want chaos. You knew that Izuku without doubt will go for the more chaotic route. You gave him exactly what he wants without him being an actual applicant. Come on, Izuku, I said with a sly grin. Where's your sense of fun? A little chaos keeps things. 𝐿TNG. Izuku gave sheepish grin. Besides, this won't only be more fun, but it'll give me the perfect chance to analyze them up close. Way better than just being stuck behind screens. It's a disaster waiting to happen, Izuku shot back, annoyed on the prospect that what's to come. Nuro snickered, his 9 tails flicking with delight. A disaster, perhaps. But oh, what a appealing disaster it'll be. Don't worry, Izawa. I promise not to cause too much mayhem for the applicants. Izuku promised. Fine. Izawa groaned, caving in. Izuku and I shared a glance, both knowing full well that, deep down, Izawa enjoys the chaos almost as much as we do. After all, Izuku hasn't been just learning under my paws. Both Izawa and 𝐒𝐲𝐻 have their own mischievous side. Though different but the same either way. I clapped my paws together, eyes sparkling. Splendid. Then it settled. Izuku, go on ahead and prepare yourself for the examination. You're allowed to do as you please. With pleasure. Izuku nodded. Let's go, Neuro, we have some preparations to do. Wait, just before you leave, one final thing. I believe that it's overdue time that we finally, officially introduce you to the staff. There will be a staff meeting after the examination. That's when it's going to happen. I added. Neuro's ears perked, his tail swishing like banners caught in the wind. An official introduction. Oh, finally stepping out of the shadows, are we? Like Nizu said, it was long overdue. I also believe that it's time that we introduce to the staff, properly. We always went with the ruse that you were just interning under Nizu. Although not a lie. But not the whole truth either. Izawa stated. Izuku took a thoughtful pose, one hand under his chin, before nodding. I see no problem with it. If there's nothing else, I have an examination to prepare for. I'll see you guys later. With that, Izuku left the office, the door closing softly behind him. Izawa exhaled, pinching the bridge of his nose. You're enjoying this far too much. I chuckled, tail flicking with amused composure. Of course I am. Watching him grow into his role. It's delightful. Izawa leaned back in his chair, scarf rustling. His gaze was fixed on the door Izuku had just walked through. He's ready. But I am a little worried about his interaction with All Might. Honestly, I want to strangle him and expose what he's truly like. My smile thinned, and my tone lost its usual playfulness. Believe me, there's nothing I'd want more than to burn that man alive. But his reputation and the impact he has on this world. Those are shields we can't break without consequences. The last thing I want is an incompetent man like him shaping the minds of my students. Izawa's eyes narrowed. And yet here we are, forced to play nice. I folded my paws neatly on my desk, for now, that is. For a long moment, Izawa didn't respond. Then he muttered, I just hope the staff meeting doesn't turn into a circus. I laughed softly, a glint of amusement in my eyes. Oh, I wouldn't bet on that. The mood changed from sour to contemplative, the tension loosening just enough for the room to feel lighter. RD person POV. It is officially the beginning of the entrance exam. The written exams have gone smoothly with minor mishaps, but now it was time for the practical part. The massive gates of 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐸𝐻 opened with a slow, deliberate creak, revealing the sprawling exam grounds beyond. Hundreds of applicants surged forward, nerves and excitement tangling in the air like static. Some whispered strategy, others fidgeted with their clothes, their quirks simmering under their control. Every face was lit with either determination or terror. Among the crowd, a lone figure moved with calm purpose. Hood drawn, Izuku walked like any other hopeful participant. From afar, no one could guess he was not truly an applicant. He watched quietly, every gesture, glance, and quirk in motion. His eyes were sharp, noting reactions and strategies. He has a couple of ideas of how he's going to assess them, to determine if they have the potential to become real heroes. In the center of the grounds, Present Mick's voice boomed across the assembled crowd, rich with energy. Welcome, future heroes. Today, you'll be tested for your courage, your skills, and your ability to think under pressure. The obstacles ahead will challenge everything you've learned so far. So, are you ready, little listeners? A wave of cheers, cries, and anxious murmurs rippled through the applicants. Izuku's gaze swept across the crowd, taking mental notes. Some stood tall, puffed up with confidence. Others hesitated, uncertainty making their movements jerky. Already, the seeds of their potential as well as their weaknesses were clear. The ground beneath the applicants trembled as giant steel shutters groaned open across the testing grounds. From the darkness within, the first glint of metal eyes shone through. Begin! Present Mick's roar thundered across the arena, so loud that several students stumbled at the sheer force of it. The robots surged forward like a mechanical tide, the hulking one-pointer bots clambering over debris, two-pointers wheeling across the cracked streets, and towering the three-pointers were stomping with seismic weight. Concrete shattered under their steps, the sound of gears grinding mixing with the cries of startled participants. The crowd scattered instantly, instincts splitting them into fighters, strategists, and those frozen in place by fear. Explosions cracked in the distance as flashy quirks lit up the artificial cityscape. Izuku remained in motion, blending with the wave of applicants. His eyes darted across the chaos, cataloging reactions. One student blasted forward too recklessly, nearly tripping on rubble. Another hesitated until it was almost too late, only saved by a more assertive peer. Already, the line between hero material and unprepared dreamer was becoming clear. His plans are in motion. He had stationed her ravens all across the examination field. That way he's capable of keeping an eye on everyone. He also has Erebus, Moonlight, Tenebris and Neuro on standby in case of an occurrence of a dangerous situation. You can never be too careful. Izuku darted across the fractured streets, careful to keep his disguise intact. His hood shielded his expression, but his sharp green eyes missed nothing. To his left, a boy with spiked hair screamed as electricity surged from his palms, frying a one-pointer into smoking ruin. Impressive output, but Izuku noted how the boy staggered immediately after, shaking his arms as if he'd overloaded himself. Strong quirk. Poor stamina management. Needs refinement. Ahead, a girl spun gracefully through the air, touching falling chunks of rubble. Each piece shimmered, floated, and then dropped harmlessly aside. Her control was steady, measured, and her eyes never left the civilians painted onto nearby walls. Good instincts. Prioritizes safety over points. Definitely hero material. On the opposite street, a boy in heavy armor barreled straight into a three-pointer, using brute strength to tear the robot apart. His power was undeniable, but Izuku's focus lingered on the smaller student he had nearly trampled in his reckless charge. Raw force with no awareness of allies. Dangerous in a team setting. A sudden tremor rippled through the ground, heavier than before. Dust clouds rose as a massive shadow loomed at the far end of the cityscape. The zero-pointer had arrived. Izuku's eyes locked on the towering machine, already scanning the students nearest to it. The real test was about to begin. He pressed himself against a shattered wall, letting the chaos swirl around him. The zero-pointer lumbered forward, but his attention was on the students, not the robot. This is where true character reveals itself, he thought. He edged closer to a cluster of applicants, deliberately drawing the gaze of a few smaller students. A shard of debris tumbled near their feet, nothing major, just something enough to force a reaction. One boy froze entirely, eyes wide, as if the simplest challenge was insurmountable. Izuku scribbled mental notes. Fear overrides action. Needs confidence building before real fieldwork. Another girl dove forward instinctively, scooping up the debris and tossing it aside without thinking. Her movements were fast, precise, and instinctively protective. Hero instinct. Risk-taker, but in a controlled way. Could be a great leader if tempered. He shifted again, letting his presence be noticed briefly. A student misjudged the shadow of his hooded figure, expecting an enemy, and reacted aggressively, throwing a blast of quirk in Izuku's direction. He stepped aside effortlessly, allowing it to harmlessly hit the ground. Impulse control is weak, but determination is strong. Needs guidance, not restraint, he noted. He weaved between students, subtly nudging situations to see how they handled unexpected stress. A crate teetered precariously above two applicants. Izuku gave it a light shove. One ducked instinctively, shielding the smaller student beside them. The other froze, indecision painted across their face. Izuku's lips twitched. One axe for others. One axe for self. That was all the distinction he needed. As Izuku kept testing the applicants, the timer drew close to its final seconds. When it hit 0, a loud buzzer blared across the field. And that's time. Present Mick's voice boomed through the speakers. Thank you all giving it your absolute best. The examination is now over. Please proceed towards the gates to exit, and those in need of medical assistance, our medics will be attending to you shortly. The students began to make their way out. Izuku recalled Rava back and moved through the crowd, quietly helping the students find their way out. He spotted Koyo tending to the injured applicants. She looked up and noticed him. He offered a small wave and a gentle smile. Still, he chose to let her continue her work quietly and peacefully, not wanting to disturb her focus. Once everything was sorted out, Izuku began to make his way towards the staff's meeting room. He pulled out his notebook, flicking through the pages. He reviewed every observation he'd made during the exam. He scribbled brief notes besides each student's name, highlighting those who had stood out, not just for their quirks, but for their choices and actions. Erebus appeared silently at his side. You've catalogued quite the storm, he murmured. Izuku nodded, closing the notebook. Everything went smoothly. Though I have to admit, I expected a bit more chaos. I thought there might be some mayhem, but it all went surprisingly well. Nuro's actually a little upset about the lack of chaos from your end, but I imagine the chaos you're seeking will occur once you join the meeting to discuss. Well, everything. Erebus remarked, amusement lacing his voice. Well, I did take everything seriously, but I agree with you, Izuku added, mirroring Erebus's amused tone. This definitely feels like the calm before the storm, and I'm pretty sure Nizu anticipated it would turn out this way as well. He just wanted to give me the action I wanted. They walked the rest of the way in silence, enjoying the quiet comfort of each other's company.